there when we are in studio, which we are today at our Equity Bank Park studio. It is December 11th. It's the 345th day of the year, 20 days left in 2025, 14 days until Christmas, and headed for a high today of 62. Is that possible? Unseasonably warm today in Wichita. And yeah, headed for a high this afternoon of 62 degrees. 316-247-0923 is the number. Random question from a texter. Which would you bet first? Chiefs to make the playoffs this year or Royals to make the World Series next year? I would bet on the Chiefs making the playoffs this year if I had to make a bet between the two. Texter, good question, though. Keep those questions and comments rolling in on the text line. We will try to get to them if we see them in time. And if you're on topic, we'll shout you out. All right, we'll tell you what we're going to talk about today, but not before Jack Johnson gives us our moment of levity. Make us laugh.
Our grandfather poured his blood, sweat, and tears into his work. He was an amazing man, but a horrible chef.
Ooh. Told you it was National App Day. It's also National Stretching Day, pointing out the numerous benefits that come with stretching. And it's Noodle Ring Day also. Apparently that's a casserole. 5 days to tell you about tomorrow once we get there. Celebrating a birthday today. Terry Garr, born day, passed away last year. Actress known for roles in Mr. Mom, Tootsie. Jermaine Jackson is 71. And any other notables born today? An astronomer back in the 1800s, Annie Cannon, born 1863. And that'll just about do it for December 11th. All right, here's what we're going to talk about today. And we welcome your contributions or questions if you have one on any of these topics. Got to talk about Sharon Moore, the embattled and now in custody former Michigan coach. He had quite a day yesterday, and it certainly didn't just start yesterday, but we'll give you the very latest of what we know and try not to speculate on Sharon Moore's ouster at Michigan. We'll also mix in a little K-State talk because there are some coaches from the previous regime that will not be retained. And much to the delight of at least one texter on our text line, but we'll let you know who's not coming back when it comes to K-State football staff. So a little college football talk here in the opening segment and a little baseball talk at 12:25. A very polarizing broadcaster has been the latest recipient of the Ford Frick Award. We'll talk about that. And a former Royals on the move and got a lot of money from the Atlanta Braves. We'll tell you who that is coming up in the second segment. We'll also give some stuff away at the tail end of the second segment, so be listening then for that. We have a Twitter question, and it has to do with holidays at your workplace. That's coming up at the end of hour number one. And then in the 1 o'clock hour, Pick Six, brought to you by Busch Light. We will have 7 games to pick from, and one especially for you listeners to get you qualified to try to win the Busch Light sign at the end of the football season. So heads up, the 1 o'clock hour, Chance, myself, and Jack will make our picks in the Pick Six segment. Jamie Bluma returns after a week off. He had a really big party / fundraiser last weekend. We'll ask him how that went and get his thoughts on the Hot Stove League as the winter meetings in Orlando wrap up. And finally, we'll have December 11th version or edition of I'm Old Jack's Young. That's a little segment where we have some fun. We name some tunes. We celebrate some birthdays throughout the course of sports history. And we also have a little crosstalk with Pat Strathman. He slides in here. We visit with him a bit before we hand you off to the Pulse, which comes your way from 2 to 4 every single weekday. Looking ahead a little bit, next couple of days on the channel, after hours, we got play-by-play for you. McPherson and Andover's our high school game of the week tomorrow. And Chance Lebo delivers that. So basketball action between McPherson and Andover. And then on Saturday, KU is back in action. Your home of the Jayhawks is right here in Wichita, ESPN Wichita 92.3. Coverage against NC State in Raleigh starts at 3 o'clock. So KU and NC State coming your way Saturday afternoon right here on ESPN Wichita. All right, you have your topics, you got your numbers to weigh in that way. If you'd like, we start with some unsavory news out of Ann Arbor, Michigan. And it was quite a day by Sharon Moore. News broke yesterday that Michigan was firing Sharon Moore for cause following an investigation into his conduct with a staff member. The statement was released by the school and it said, quote, UM head football coach Sharon Moore has been terminated with cause effective immediately. Following a university investigation, credible evidence was found that Coach Moore engaged in an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. End of quote. It wasn't the end of the statement, but it went on. The statement went on to say that it's strictly prohibited and it's zero tolerance. And so, according to this statement, it made it sound like it was a pretty easy decision. Stunning, shocking, but if what happened it truly happened, then the athletic department in the school kind of had its hands tied as far as ambiguity of keeping him or terminating him, following a university investigation, of course. And then later on that day, Sharon Moore ends up in jail. And he remains in custody as a suspect in an alleged assault. He's expected to appear in court for arraignment tomorrow. This is according to the Pittsfield Charter Township Department of Public Safety. That is in Michigan, of course. And I hope I don't butcher this county too much. The Washtenaw County Prosecutor's Office told the ESPN that nothing further is going to probably happen today as far as whether to file criminal charges against Moore. Authorities have yet to release details about the arrest, other than to say he remains under investigation. There are plenty of reports out there, if you want to go look at them, as to what he did to not only get fired, but to get put in jail. I'm not going to float any of them out there because I don't know that any of them are substantiated. And I'm going off of currently ESPN.com's article on it and on him and the statements that have been released by the authorities, prosecutor's office, Department of Public Safety, etc. Again, plenty of speculation, plenty of reports on who he was with, what he did to get put into custody, and why he's still there. I'll leave that to you. But there are plenty of disturbing facts that have come out and has led to Sharon Moore getting fired and put into custody. County Prosecutor's Office spokesperson Liz Mack said earlier today, quote, "The matter involving Mr. Moore remains under active investigation by law enforcement, and as a result, we do not expect charging decisions or an arraignment today. Mr. Moore remains in custody at the county jail." End of quote. Pittsfield police released a statement last night saying they responded to a 4:10 p.m. call to the 3000 block of Saline Road, quote, for the purposes of investigating an alleged assault. A suspect in this case was taken into custody. This incident does not appear to be random in nature, and there appears to be no ongoing threat to the community. End of quote. In case you're wondering, Moore is married, has a family, so you can throw that in there to further one way or another your opinion of Sharon Moore, I suppose. He was initially detained by police in Saline, Michigan on Wednesday and turned over to authorities in Pittsfield Township for an investigation into potential charges. How about the last handful of years at Michigan, huh? Between Connor Stallions, that whole mess, Jim Harbaugh getting out of town, Sharon Moore, even before he got fired yesterday, taking the rap for part of Michigan wrongdoings, suspended as a coach for a few games. And apparently the university investigated Moore this fall after receiving a tip about the situation, but did not find credible evidence of wrongdoing, a source told ESPN. More information came forward yesterday that the source said was overwhelming and led to Moore's immediate dismissal. Perhaps more on that tomorrow, perhaps not. I guess if there's another bombshell that comes out about what he did, who he did it to, who he did it with, we can follow up, and maybe or maybe not, it'll be the story of the week. But incredible last handful of years in the University of Michigan, and incredible, not a compliment when it comes to Michigan football. Speaking of football, another school that is dealing with a coaching change for far different reasons, Kansas State. It has been released that Colin Klein has not necessarily filled all these positions, but all of these assistant coaches have been told they're not going to be retained from last year's team, including offensive coordinator Matt Wells. Defensive coordinator Joe Klanderman is gone, but not because he's not being retained. He's taken a job at Baylor, so he's gone too. But the others that are not being retained by Colin Klein: running backs coach, wide receivers coach, cornerbacks coach, defensive tackle coach, and tight end coach. So, as so often happens, new coach comes in, he's going to want his guys, quote unquote, and that includes Colin Klein, sounds like, as the OC and DC, for a couple different reasons, have been either left on their own accord or been told that they're not going to be invited back. So Colin Klein's staff continues to take shape, and K-State fans, or perhaps more specifically, not fans of Matt Wells, don't have to worry about that anymore. So there's the very latest in college football news. If you're wondering who Michigan has in their bowl game and when, it's actually a pretty big game, assuming all the players stick around for both teams come New Year's Eve, Wednesday, December 31st. In the afternoon, the Citrus Bowl, Michigan and Texas at Camping World Stadium in Orlando. So it'll be interesting to see what that Michigan team looks like then. That seems like a long ways away, considering what happened in Ann Arbor yesterday, as we are about, what would it be, 3 weeks away or so of Michigan, Texas, one of the handful of bowls on New Year's Eve down in Orlando. All right, 316-247-0923. If you got thoughts on the very latest in college football, the news, some bad, some even worse than that. But we monitor the situation in Michigan as details come forward, but it doesn't sound like there's going to be much more news. Maybe, who knows, before tomorrow when he's arraigned in court on Friday. Sharon Moore, not only out as head coach, but in custody. He's in jail right now. Wild stuff out of Michigan. All right, 316-247-0923. We're off and running here on a Thursday. Got a lot of other stuff to get to, too, including some baseball, a little bit more baseball talk. The Ford Frick Award is given every year to the broadcaster that will be the very next to go into the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. And it's a very, very familiar name and face that's going into the hall, and a very polarizing guy too, regardless of sport. But we'll tell you about that coming up here in just a little bit. And also a free agent outfielder that was on the Royals wish list, one of them anyway, is off the market, and he got a sweetheart deal. Good for him. We'll tell you who that is and who the Royals will have to shift their focus to. Perhaps a little more hot stove talk coming up here on the other side of the break. Also got a giveaway coming up here shortly. Holiday party / Twitter question coming your way at the end of hour number 1. And then a chock full hour number 2 with Pick 6 with Chance Lebo, myself, and Jack. Got an interview with Jamie Bluma. And I'm old Jack Young at the end of the show as well. Again, a reminder, a little bit later on this week / weekend, we've got a triple header on Sunday when it comes to NFL football. Cleveland and Chicago start it, then Detroit and Los Angeles. That ought to be a good one. The Lions and the Rams in the afternoon game. And then you can hear the Cowboys right here on your home of the Cowboys here in Wichita. Sunday Night Football, Minnesota and Dallas, as Dallas has had the door kicked ajar just a tad by Philadelphia messing around and losing games. So Minnesota and Dallas will round out the triple header we got coming your way on Sunday with NFL play-by-play right here on the channel. When we come back, a little Major League Baseball talk. That's next, 1220.
You're listening to The Shane Dennis Show on ESPN Wichita, 92.3 FM.
What do people with blindness or low vision need to live to the fullest? Just ask them. It's skill development, scientific breakthroughs, knowledge-based jobs, and the same opportunities as everyone else. When you give to Envision, whether it be your time, donations, or your engagement, you make it all possible. That's because at Envision, they don't focus on the disability. They value the ability. They choose not to envision a world without sight, but to envision a world where people who are blind or visually impaired are empowered to reach their full potential. Learn more at envisionus.com.
Protect your playbook and your business with Red Axe Shredding. From paper to hard drives, they securely destroy it all. From home offices to large businesses, Red Axe offers secure on-site and off-site shredding you can trust. Fast, affordable, and 100% confidential. Call Red Axe Shredding today at 316-869-2215 or visit redaxe.co. Trust the pros. Shred with Red Axe.
And now another no-brainer money-saving tip from Progressive.
Marcus, what happened?
I was changing my oil and I spilled some on the floor.
Oh, well, use these $50 bills to wipe it up.
Perfect. Got any more?
Yeah, take a couple hundred.
Stop. Instead of using money, use an old rag. And here's a better tip from Progressive on how not to waste money. Don't pay too much for car insurance. Drivers who switch and save could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary.
Caring for parents as they age is a big responsibility. Kansas PACE makes it easier by coordinating everything: doctor visits, medications, transportation, therapies, and daily support. Their friendly PACE centers are filled with activities and new friends. With Kansas PACE, your loved one gets expert care while you get the space to keep up your own life. For men and women balancing careers, family, and caregiving, Kansas PACE is the partner you need. Discover how they can help at kansaspace.org.
He was just one of those friends that everybody liked to have, that anytime you needed something, you call Matt.
Very big-hearted.
An impaired driver killed the Grove's son in 2011.
There's not a day that goes by I don't think about him.
It hurts. He won't be able to be a father, a husband, or a grandfather.
Always drive sober.
Parents aren't supposed to bury their children.
A message from the Kansas Department of Transportation and all the victims of impaired driving crashes.
Wichita's new sports leader, ESPN Wichita, 92.3 FM.
You keep going, but we put everything into these games, every game. So when you lose, you should be upset.
Yeah, I mean, just having 2 more opportunities to go down and tie the football game and not doing it. You got to be able to make that stuff happen, and we haven't done that enough this year.
Wichita's home for Chiefs coverage. ESPN Wichita, 92.3 FM.
Rocking around the Christmas tree at the Christmas party hop.
You know, it just so happens that it's Brenda Lee's birthday. She sings that dandy right there, rocking around the Christmas tree. Hey, we want to let you all know, of course, we're at our Equity Bank Park studio here, the beautiful ballpark here down by the river. And from now until December 19th, so now until a week from now, you can come visit the Wichita Wind Surge team store at Equity Bank Park, and they'll be collecting mittens, socks, and gloves, and they'll be donating them to the Wichita Family Crisis Center. So if you bring in new mittens, gloves, and or socks, those will all be accepted, but they got to be new. So come on in, and fans who donate 2 packs or pairs of socks, mittens, or gloves will get a 25% discount at the team store. If you donate 4 packs or pairs, you'll receive a 30% discount. And if you donate 10 or more, you get 40% off at the Wichita Wind Surge team store. So if you can donate, we would love for this to be a community-wide thing. Flood them with new mittens, gloves, and socks. Only new ones will be accepted. And if you donate 10 or more, you'll get 40% discount and a complimentary Harry Potter Wind Surge cap as well. So if you donate, not only are you going to feel better about yourself and help out Wichita Family Crisis Center, you also have a chance to get a discount at the team store here at the Wichita Wind Surge team store here at Equity Bank Park. So we encourage you to donate those items, new mittens, socks, and gloves, from now until December 19th. We appreciate it. All right, some news from Orlando. Another member of the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame will be inducted into Cooperstown. And we didn't really talk about Jeff Kent, who is the one and only former player that was announced he was going to be inducted a few days ago. But it was revealed that the Ford C. Frick Award, the broadcasting wing of the Hall of Fame, will have a new member, and it's a super familiar face and name across all levels of sports, including golf once upon a time. But it's Joe Buck, and he will join his late father, Jack Buck, in the MLB Hall of Fame, winning the Ford Frick Award. And it was a guy that, for some of you, you may not realize, if you're not as old as me, you might not realize that at 22 years old, he broadcast a Cardinals game. Prior to that, he was broadcasting in AAA games at just 21. He was 27 when he called his first World Series, and went on to broadcast, I believe, the most All-Star games and World Series too. And it was, I think, as we all get to know as much as we can Joe Buck further, we realize that, and I hope we realize, Jack and I are in agreement that we don't view Joe Buck quite the same way some fans do, because invariably, if there's a national broadcaster, and I don't know if Al Michaels gets this treatment too, or Bob Costas, or others that were pretty famous play-by-play broadcasters, but everybody's fan base thinks that certain guys don't like their teams. And Joe Buck is infamous for that. But getting back to Joe Buck's early career and being Jack Buck's kid, he, throughout the years, has owned pretty much all those, they're facts. If you're Jack Buck's kid and you're in broadcasting, you're going to have a leg up on a lot of the competition. And he was quoted earlier this week as saying, quote, "My best memory of my father as a broadcaster was 1987 in Cooperstown, New York, and what that meant to him, meant to our family, and to see the joy and pride he had. I came into broadcasting as the luckiest guy in the world. I was lucky to call Jack Buck my dad and my best friend. It's hard for me, and this is why I have a therapist, to accept this kind of stuff because I downplay awards because of the feeling I had a leg up at the start of my career, and I did. But I'm happy I paid attention as a kid because I wanted to be with his dad. He and I were best friends." End of quote. So he's acknowledged along the way that it's a nepotism thing that got his foot in the door. But I do believe it's hard to argue, especially in baseball. There aren't too many that would be a peer of Joe Buck. I'm not saying he's one of a kind or one of one, but take a listen to the finalist that Joe Buck beat out to get the Ford Frick Award this year. Brian Anderson, Skip Carey, Gary Cohen, Dwayne Kuiper, John Rooney, and Dan Schulman, among others. John Sterling, too. I'm not real crazy about John Sterling, but that's neither here nor there. Also, he's 56, so that makes him the second youngest Frick Award winner, behind only the great Vin Scully, who was 54 when he was named the winner in 1982. And it's kind of fitting for Joe Buck because he became the youngest play-by-play World Series announcer, 27, since Vin Scully in 1953. He grew up in St. Louis, Joe Buck did, as of course his dad was calling games on KMOX radio. Then went to Indiana University. By 1989, he was calling AAA games at Louisville. And in 1991, joined his dad on Cardinals broadcast and remained with that team through 2007. And then joined Fox Sports along the way as an NFL play-by-play announcer and called his first World Series again at 27. Vin Scully was 25, by the way, back in 1953 when he called the World Series game. And he partnered up with 2012 Frick Award winner Tim McCarver, the late great. And he set a record with McCarver with 15 All-Star games broadcasting throughout his career. He also acknowledged the support he'd gotten from another broadcasting icon in St. Louis, Bob Costas. Like Costas, Buck went from starting his broadcasting career in St. Louis to broadcasting across the nation. So Joe Buck joins his dad in the MLB Hall of Fame as the Ford C. Frick, a winner. Of course, you Royals fans know that Denny Matthews was a former Ford Frick Award winner as well, and he's already in the Hall of Fame. Speaking of the Royals, one of the players that they had their eyes on and didn't get their hooks in when it comes to their outfield interests was a guy, or is a guy that Jack, I believe, the Royals had pegged as a backup or a platoon or whatever you want to call it, not a full-time outfielder. And that's Mike Yastrzemski, who they basically gave a tryout to last year. They kicked the tires on him, the former Giant. And he's apparently going to Atlanta, not for 1 year, but 2. And for $23 million, he'll earn $9 million this upcoming year, and $10 million in 2027. Club option worth $7 million for the 2028 season with a $4 million buyout. That's too rich for the Royal, not only the Royals blood, Jack, but he's not worth that, is he? Let's be frank.
Not in the way the Royals were hoping to use him.
Does that mean he's going to play every day? Is he going to play every day in Atlanta for that kind of money?
That's the expectation, yeah, that, looking for a multi-year deal and putting up the numbers you did last year and also the age, which wasn't really touched on too much when this deal was signed. I feel that Atlanta knew they were going to lose Marcell Ozuna, even though Ozuna was more of a DH at this point in his career, but they want to give Mike Yastrzemski a shot to play every single day in left. You don't pay platoon guys $11.5 million a year for a 2-year deal, especially not ones that are 35, unless you aren't going to use him as a platoon option. And I don't feel the Royals were ever going to use Mike Yastrzemski as an everyday option because they view Jack Caglione as their right fielder, and they want to go get a left fielder that's going to play every single day. That pigeonholes Mike Yastrzemski a little bit to center field, and he's just not a center fielder anymore. I mean, even the Giants, before he was dealt over to Kansas City, they were really only playing him in right field at the very end and platooning him in the same way the Royals were. So honestly, for Atlanta, I'm floored they did a deal like this. And though I'm sure if you're a Royals fan, you're a bit antsy, winter meetings is usually when you can strike your first deal, even if it's a very small one. And the fact that J.J. Picollo has not made a deal yet, it can frustrate some fans. But I will tell you this, if the Royals would have been the team to land Mike Yastrzemski last night to a 2-year deal worth $23.5 million, there would have been a lot of pushback. Because at that point, I'm sure a lot of people would say, well, is that their left fielder now? Is that their answer for left field? I wouldn't be too high on that just because the way he couldn't hit lefties last year. And so if Mike Yastrzemski was a righty, sure, I would be a little bit more open to it. But that's a stupid thing to say anyway. He's not a right-handed hitter. So I feel they would be far more satisfied getting their platoon option in a guy like Austin Hayes, who's not going to be getting that type of money. And he is a right-handed bat. And then you still got to go find your left-handed bat that can play every single day. But good for Yastrzemski. I liked him a lot here in Kansas City. Seemed to be a great guy. I watched him a lot in San Francisco as well. Good to get that type of contract when you're 35 years old. I mean, if that's the final contract he gets in his big league career, that's one hell of a deal to get for sure.
And don't you think, and maybe this is, recent history, maybe I'm missing on a couple of guys, but it seems like, especially last year, and who knows what's going to happen in the next month or so when the dominoes start falling. Doesn't it seem like the guys that seem to be on the Royals wish list, including Yastrzemski, have seemingly all gotten better deals and bigger deals than the Royals were willing to give, and that it's not necessarily over the last 2 off seasons who they've gotten, but who they didn't sign, and the other teams that did sign him are going to live to regret it. You know what I mean? Do you follow what I'm saying? Seems like the people that haven't signed has been as good an upside as the ones that they have.
Absolutely. And I found it interesting yesterday in Andy Rogers' article with J.J. Picollo that he had said, it's something where, the trade situation, it might take a little bit longer, but we feel in leaving the winter meetings that we've had good discussions, that we've gotten some progress on whether it be a trade deal or free agent deals. And the biggest takeaway I had is he said, of the guys that we are really in on, none of them are off the board. And that kind of had the light bulb go on of, well, were you not that serious about Mike Yastrzemski then? And that he might be viewed in the same way as Adam Frazier of, hey, if we get him at our price, that's great. Mm-hmm. But if he gets a bigger deal, we're not worried about it. And that's maybe the way you should handle your bench options. You don't need to overpay for bench options. That's what people I feel get a little bit misconstrued, is that when you see these guys signing other deals, well, the Royals only viewed Mike Yastrzemski as a platoon option. They viewed him as a backup outfielder. You don't give backup outfielders $11.5 million a year. I don't care who they are. So for Adam Frazier, they do have the upper hand of, Adam, we like you a lot. You're a great clubhouse guy. We love what you did last year. You can play second, right, and left field. Sometimes a little bit of third base, though you don't need to with Michael Garcia over there. We like what you do. Here's $5 million. 1-year deal. That's the best we can do. And we're not changing our mind on that. You can take this 5, or if you feel you can get a better deal, you go take that deal. And I feel for Yaz, that was the same thing. It might have been a 2-year deal, but I have a hard time believing with the payroll they've talked about, they were willing to go north of $10 million a year. I mean, I just would have made no sense whatsoever for the Royals because they need to spend money on a couple of bench guys and then another bullpen arm that can throw from the left side. So to hear J.J. Piccolo say none of the guys that are at the top of our board are off the board, he's a pretty brutally honest GM.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's blowing smoke up our you-know-whats of, oh, we didn't even want those guys. You shouldn't be disappointed because we've got much bigger plans, ahead for us.
Yeah.
We know they've been linked to multiple guys. They've probably been the top team and most interested in and are linked to this guy. I mean, they've been mentioned on pretty much every outfielder out there, and that's a good thing. But I also understand the fans' frustration of, hey, I don't want to hear you're interested in somebody. You can't be the guy in high school that has 20 different crushes, right? And oh, I really like that girl. Oh, I really like that girl. Well, no, we care if you actually land the girl.
Yeah.
And so
go
to
out
me,
with her.
go out with her, ask her out on a date. And so they're playing their cards a little bit. They're playing the field. And, I don't feel on December 11th, you need to feel desperate or rushed. And you certainly shouldn't feel desperate or rushed for platoon guys. That's a dime a dozen. There's going to be a lot of guys out there you can afford that can be your platoon option. Step one is getting that everyday left fielder, and we know that's coming via the trade route. The other options, that's through free agency. If they've given a couple offers out, I'm sure we could see a deal happen as early as today, and I'm sure it could take as long as the end of the year. And that, to me, is just not too pressing. What I do need to see happen before maybe the end of the year is some serious progress on landing an everyday outfielder.
So regarding the Rule 5 draft yesterday we told you about, no Royal was taken by another team, and the Royals actually didn't take anybody else. So when it comes to the Rule 5 part of the draft, the big league Rule 5 draft yesterday, Royals didn't do anything. There was no blood. None of their players were taken. They didn't take anybody else. In the minor league phase of the Rule 5 draft, they have a minor league phase too. You can protect players at a certain level, but if you don't envision them being any higher than the certain level that they are protected at, they can be taken by another team in the minors and kept in the minors. The difference between the big league Rule 5 phase is if you draft somebody or pluck somebody, you got to keep them in the big leagues the whole year. It's not the case. The minor league phase of Rule 5. The Twins actually had a couple of players selected by other clubs in the minor league phase of the Rule 5. John Stankiewicz was taken by the Tigers, and friend of the show, Aaron Rozek, was selected by the Mets. Again, this is the minor league phase of the Rule 5 draft, so likely to be in AAA, those two guys, because they were only protected at a certain level. And as we know, they were both in AA here in Wichita. But a couple of former Twins were selected in the minor league phase of the Rule 5 draft. Both pitchers, John Stankiewicz and Aaron Rozek, both selected yesterday. All right, there you go. 316-247-0923. If you got baseball thoughts, we covered a little ground there. Hot stove talk, Joe Buck talk as he's going to the Hall of Fame. Before we get to the Twitter question, we need to let you know that you got an opportunity to, from now until really the end of the year, you got a chance to double your chances to get rich, frankly, because we give away a lot of holiday scratch tickets. And now that we're getting close to Christmas, we're going to double up, give away more and more. $30 in winter cash bonus from the Kansas Lottery. So call now, 316-669-4996. Hopefully you can turn that $30 into thousands. The winter cash bonus from the Kansas Lottery and second chance drawing with the Play On app. Call Jack now. Good luck. $30 in winter cash bonus on the line. Twitter questions coming up next.
You're listening to the Shane Dennis Show on ESPN Wichita.
Hey, it's Sean Tarbell with Davis Moore Chevrolet. Celebrate the Red Tag sales event with huge year-end savings on all makes and models. Check out 2026 Chevy Silverado 1500 Crew Cab Custom 4x4 and save up to $12,000 off MSRP or get 0% financing. Check out the 2026 Chevy Colorado Z71 4x4 with up to $8,000 off MSRP and 3.9% financing for 60 months. Together, let's drive at Davis Moore Chevrolet, located under the Big American American flag at Kellogg and Tyler, or check us out online at davis-moorechevrolet.com. All offers plus tag, title, tax, and administrative fees expire January 2nd, 2026.
And we are all tied up in the bottom of the ninth. Bases loaded. Electric in here. Electric. All comes down to this pitch. You throw the fastball here. But it looks like Brock is walking off the field and is leaving the stadium. What is going on here?
I'm getting word that he left to get a taco. When you need a taco, you need a taco. Introducing the new Cantina Crispy Melt Taco, only from Taco Bell. At participating U.S. locations for a limited time only.
Dirty exterior, don't scrub it. Wet it and forget it. Wet and Forget, the easy outdoor cleaner. Wet and Forget works overtime with Mother Nature to eliminate unsightly black and green stains on the exterior of your home with no scrubbing, power washing, or bleach. Use Wet and Forget on all your outdoor surfaces, including decks, siding, roofs, and patios. Wet and Forget's available in a concentrate or extreme reach hose-in. Purchase Wet and Forget in store or online at Lowe's, Menards, Ace, or Walmart.
What do people with blindness or low vision need to live to the fullest? Just ask them. It's skill development, scientific breakthroughs, knowledge-based jobs, and the same opportunities as everyone else. When you give to Envision, whether it be your time, donations, or your engagement, you make it all possible. That's because at Envision, they don't focus on the disability. They value the ability. They choose not to envision a world without sight, but to envision a world where people who are blind or visually impaired are empowered to reach their full potential. Learn more at envisionus.com.
This New Year's Eve, Rock and Brews Casino Bremen is going big. Earn one entry for every 100 points all month long. Then join us December 31st as cash drawings start at 6 p.m. and roll all the way to 1 a.m. At midnight, one lucky player will drive into 2026 in a Ford F-150 King Ranch. An absolute powerhouse truck, and it can be yours. Ring in the new year with cash, nonstop excitement, and the truck of your dreams. Only at Rock and Brews Casino Bremen. I-35 exit 231. Owned by the Caw Nation.
The ESPN Wichita app is available now for both Android and Apple. Go to your app store and download today. All you have to do is search ESPN Wichita and take the station with you wherever you go. While you're there, find podcasts of your favorite shows. Sign up for our app-only contests. Send a text into the show and much more. The ESPN Wichita app, your source for sports in Wichita. ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM.
Born Day Nikki Sixx of Motley Crue. He's actually been officially pronounced dead multiple times, but he's still with us. Today is his born day. That's Kickstart My Heart, loosely related to his heroin addiction and overdoses. You know what? I failed you guys. I failed to actually post a Twitter question today. I'm pretty sure. I meant to, and I don't think I hit post on that particular one. And so if you guys want to weigh in on this question, you can do it on the text line because, well, I guess I could put it up here in just a little bit. But it had to do with, and it has to do with, if I end up doing it, has to do with holiday Christmas parties, etc., and how I did post it. Okay. I don't know what. Thank you, Chance. I'm losing my mind. The Twitter question today has to do with how your company handles Christmas. Staff Christmas party, bonuses, but no party, bonus and a party, or neither. So do you have a party? Do you have Christmas bonuses? Part of this is, of course, driven by National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation and Clark not getting his bonus. But I'm just curious how y'all handle, or your companies that you work for handle your Christmas time of the year parties, etc. I think we're going to have one. I failed to write it down, but I asked Pat earlier. I think next week we're going to have Christmas party of some sort. But alas, no bonuses. but that's all right. So anyway, head on over to our ESPN Wichita Twitter/X handle. Apparently I did post it, but I can't find it on my timeline, but that's not surprising though either. All right. Some other news and notes before we get into pick 6. I didn't ask your opinion, Jack, on the Pete Alonso to the Orioles move that apparently is 5 years, $155 million. Some people are proclaiming the Orioles having the best lineup in baseball. Do you share that idea? And I got a trivia question for you after you're done. What do you think?
You know, I do give Baltimore and Mike Elias some credit for going for it a little bit. They had such a disastrous season last year. Nothing really came together. They had awful pitching, and they're still going to need that. There were reports right after they signed Alonso that they're still absolutely in the market for a top-level free agent in terms of starting pitcher. So that could be a Ranger Suarez. That could be a Framber Valdez. But clearly they're trying to go out there and get an ace to pair with one of the better lineups in the American League now. I mean, you have Gunnar Henderson. You've got Pete Alonso that you're adding. You got Taylor Ward. You got Adley Rutschman hoping to bounce back with his season. And you've got, a couple of Cowser as well.
Oh, yeah.
You've got, there are a couple of young guys who are going to have to trade as well, but you have Basayo too, the young prospect catcher that you're going to add to that lineup. So they are going to have a very high ceiling offense, but their biggest issue is pitching. And Mike Elias, who is on the hot seat, never in a million years you would have thought that 3 years ago when he had turned around Baltimore from being the worst team in baseball to the number 1 seed and a 100-win team. But when you don't win any postseason games in the last 4 years and you just came off missing it, you got to go all in. And he's fortunate enough that ownership is willing to give him the money to spend. I was floored that Pete Alonso didn't go back to New York because I thought that he was going to be a Met for life. Just felt that every time it was discussed of his other landing spots, the Mets were still the favorite to land him. And he seemed to love it there. He was a fan favorite. He was embraced there. But the fact to hear that they didn't even come close to matching that offer that Baltimore had, it's clear they sensed something that he's not going to age as well as the Orioles clearly think he can. And if the Mets aren't going to land him and they're going to let Edwin Diaz go to the Dodgers, boy, you better get up on the horse and get going here because you missed the postseason too last year with guys like that having extraordinary seasons.
Not that we care about the Mets, but God, now what do they do? Where do they go from here? And who?
You probably got to pivot to Cody Bellinger.
Okay.
I would say it's an absolute failure of an offseason if they don't land a Cody Bellinger or they don't land a Kyle Tucker, which Kyle Tucker feels very unlikely. Cody Bellinger, it's possible, but you're going to have to compete with your in-city, not really in-city, we'll just call it that, your in-city rival in the Yankees. They're not going to be landing Kyle Tucker, it appears. So to me, that feels like they're going to put all of their eggs in the basket of Cody Bellinger and bringing him back on a 7-year deal. So for the Mets, man, I mean, they have been the unanimous pick from all the national reporters of the biggest loser of the winter meetings because you lose those two guys after that catastrophic collapse you had in September. I'd be irate right now if I was a Mets fan because you want to be able to pivot quickly. If you let a guy like Pete Alonso go, even if, he's 32, 33, I believe, or maybe he's not that old just yet. That's crazy to think about. He's definitely 30 at the bare minimum there. But a 5-year deal for that, if you let him go, you usually like to see your GM and owner go get somebody a day after. Like, oh, we let him walk, but don't worry, we're letting him walk because we're close to signing this guy. And the fact that it doesn't sound like they're close on anybody, that would be worrisome if I'm a Mets fan because the Phillies are going to be great. That the NL East is going to be a gauntlet in general, and you're not the top dog, and you weren't going into the offseason, and now you're certainly not going to be leaving the offseason based on who's left out there in the field. Pivoting
back to the Royals now, there's been some flirtation apparently with Teoscar Hernandez. How would we feel about that? I think that's a thumbs up for me.
Yeah, I mean, I really feel that for the Royals fans that are picky on who they want, you don't really have a right to be picky based on what the outfield's done for you. I mean, it was almost laughable to me that, when that was reported, it was like, oh, gross pass. A 33-year-old who coming off a down year. I'm like, his down year was still 25 bombs and driving in 89, and he was a postseason hero. And, he got on base at a 284 clip, but was an above average bat based off the OPS plus and the WRC plus. The defense is awful. He hit 25 bombs and drove an 89. I can live with some subpar defense if that's what you bring to the plate offensively. And keep in mind here, based on his age and that contract, which I looked it up, and toward the payroll, he's around $14 million. So if you're looking at the 3-year, $66 million deal, he's not making $23 million towards your payroll. It's just going to be about 14 to 15. If you take on a chunk of that contract, guess what you get to do? Not give up the top pitchers you're not wanting to give up. So with Jarren Duran and Brendan Donovan, unfortunately, if you want Duran, it sounds like you're going to have to give up Cole Reagans, and J.J. Bacolas put his foot down and saying no.
Yeah.
Saying we're not giving up Cole Reagans, move on to somebody else, or we're not striking a deal. For Brendan Donovan, the thing you have going against you is, yes, they want Noah Cameron, but they've got 20 suitors. So if you're the Cardinals, you're the belle of the ball. You're able to sit back and say, what do you have for me? What do you have for me? What do you have for me? And so the Royals would have to really separate themselves from the bunch, not just being a in-state rival, but really, giving them an offer they can't refuse. So with the Dodgers, this might be the deal if you wanted to do it. I'm not saying it's a perfect deal, but where you could go, all right, we want Teoscar Hernandez. We'll eat half to 70% of that contract, and we'll send you Chris Bubic. We'll send you Bubic. And if it's a 1-for-1, great. I'm sure there'd be other pieces.
The price tag
there.
that high, you think?
I mean, you gotta be realistic about Chris Bubic's price tag as well.
I guess.
I like Chris Bubic more than the rest. Don't get me wrong.
Well, he's an all-star, and Teoscar Hernandez isn't, if you want to use that bar.
For sure. But Teoscar Hernandez was also a Silver Slugger and all-star in 24, and he had 30 home runs. I mean, he was a legitimate bat in the best offensive lineup in all of baseball. For Chris Bubic, the last time he had a full season?
Yeah, I know.
2022, and it wasn't good.
Yeah.
So you can make the case if you're the Dodgers or any team in baseball and say, all right, you're selling me on Chris Bubic, right? You're trying to sell me on him being a Cy Young finalist because he was that for a half of the season.
Mm-hmm.
All right, has he been a Cy Young finalist for an entire year? No. Has he, since he's turned things around? And keep in mind, I am one of Chris Bubic's biggest supporters.
Yeah.
But since he became the new involved Chris Bubic, he's never finished an entire year. That, to me, was the beginning of 2023. Had Tommy John at the end of April. 2024, misses half of the year, comes back, he throws out of the bullpen. Really good, but out of the bullpen. 2025, stretches out as a starter. You're not worried about Tommy John, rotator cuff strain. So that's where the Royals have to be realistic of, you not only can't sell a team on how great Chris Bubic is because of the injuries, here's the other part. You have him for 1 year. He's going to be a free agent at season's end. And sure, you could trade him and that team can extend him, and it won't be that expensive due to those injury concerns. But you cannot sell Chris Bubic on what he might be, because that's where most teams are going to go, well, yeah, everybody's a might be.
Mm-hmm.
There's a chance you trade Teoscar Hernandez, and he's back to being a 35 home run bat. That's all the hypotheticals. And to me, potential and ceiling is a very dangerous word. It gets us to believe in players. It gets us to believe in trades. And to me, the Royals cannot overvalue Chris Bubic to the point where they can't land a deal with anybody. You got to pick of the four guys, and really now it's just four, Cameron, Bubic, Bergert, and Kolek. You got to pick of those four, three that you just like more than the other guy.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just go to everybody and say, well, no, we like that guy. Well, no, we really like that guy. No, you can't have that guy. Well, then you're not getting the bat that you want. See, and that's where I always, chuckle when I hear people going back and forth in the Twitter sphere. It's like, well, I want this guy. Well, I don't want to give up that guy. Well, no, I really want this guy. Well, they can't trade that guy. Well, it's a part of this thing. You want a good bat. You want somebody who's going to change the middle of your order. You have to give up a pitcher that could be good. You cannot be scared of that. Teams that are scared to either sign somebody or trade somebody are going to be left in the dust. I believe it was Andrew Friedman. He has one of the best quotes that pops up every single time winter meetings rolls around, because you get these teams like the Royals a number of years that were like, well, they were interested. They put an offer on the table, but they didn't get him, right? And it's, good try on that. Yeah, it was Andrew Friedman. If you're always rational about every free agent, you will finish third on every free agent. That's the same way it goes for trades.
Yeah. The only way you're going to fleece anybody in a trade is for minor leaguers, and you're not going to know until later down the road that you fleece somebody. That's the only way you're going to do it.
Absolutely. You know, the Padres last year, they went for it at the deadline. They needed a catcher. They got Freddie Fermin and gave up Berger and Kolek. And a lot of Padres fans said, man, I don't like doing that trade, but it's a part of that, the situation you're in. And for the Royals, they have to get an everyday outfielder. And if they land on Teoscar Hernandez, I'm not going to be the sour grapes guy of, oh, God, he's 33. They're paying him. First off, it ain't your money. It ain't your money. John Sherman would be putting the money toward that contract, and there's no salary cap in baseball. If they want to go a little over it, that's their thing they're going to deal with. But, of course, everybody's going to worry about what numbers he's going to post. But even if he repeats what he did last year, he would be the best offensive outfielder they've had since, probably Whit Merrifield when he was playing right field at the very end, but in a much different way. I'll say Jorge Soler.
Yeah.
Because Jorge Soler in that 2019 year, we had 48 bombs. Like, if you got Teoscar Hernandez and he misreads a fly ball or two, hey, if you hit a bomb in that game, I really don't care. Maybe that's me underselling it a bit of how bad he is defensively, but I'm looking for the bat here. And if you want to keep Reagans and Cameron on this roster, and it's going to take one of those two to get Donovan or Duran, guess what? I'm pivoting then to a guy like this that can be a difference maker in the middle of your order.
All right, here's the trivia before we move on to pick 6. Pete Alonso, we were just talking about, 264 home runs since 2019, third most in the majors at that time. Jack, who are the only two that have hit more since 2019?
Okay. Judge.
Yep.
And not going to be Schwarber.
Moving on. There you have it. All right. When we return, the ever popular Pick 6 segment. Jack was on fire last weekend, 7-1. It's brought to you by Busch Light and your chance to get qualified to win a Busch Light neon sign for your cave or your garage. That's coming up next, hour number 2.
Wichita's news sports leader, ESPN Wichita, 92.3 FM, KKGQ, Newton.
The high school game of the week presented by Commerce Bank hits the hardwood on ESPN Wichita, 92.3 FM, as Andover plays host to McPherson, as two of the state's most consistent high school basketball programs hit the floor in an early season matchup you will not want to miss. Catch coverage of the high school game of the week presented by Commerce Bank beginning at 7 o'clock only on Wichita's sports leader, ESPN Wichita, 92.3 FM.
Packing tape.
Today on Hey Culligan, Smart Home, Smarter Water Softener. Here's Kevin.
Hey Culligan, can a smart water softener lift those heavy salt bags for me?
Kevin, it can.
Wait, it can?
Yep, the smart high-efficiency water softener from Culligan can alert your dealer when the salt needs to be replaced, and they'll do it for you, so your water stays soft and you stay away from lifting the bags.
I mean, I could lift them if I wanted.
No judgment here, Kevin. We're happy to do it, and we're already on the way. Let us help you out with a free in-home water test with the local Culligan water expert at Culligan.com.
You like to make a donation?
Nobody protects you from mayhem like Allstate.
Not even?
On that heavy shelf you hung yesterday. Turns out you didn't use enough anchors. Wait, you didn't use any anchors? Now you've got an open floor plan. Trendy. And if you have the wrong home insurance, you could need a wall of money to fix this. So get home insurance with Allstate and be better protected from mayhem like me.
Based on coverage and limits selected. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Vehicle and Property Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Every day is a great day at the Fairfield Inn and Suites, Wichita downtown. With over 1,000 Fairfields worldwide, they rank in the top 20% for cleanliness and service. Located at Kellogg and Main in the Waterwalk District, they are centrally located. Providing exceptional service is their thing. And make sure to enjoy a hot breakfast buffet with every stay. Let them be your home away from home. Fairfield Inn and Suites, Wichita, downtown by Marriott. Wichita's hidden gem.
If you or a loved one has been a victim of personal injury, including medical malpractice and vehicle accidents, do not hesitate to call Prochaska, Howell, and Prochaska. For more than 38 years, their experienced team has helped fight for your rights regardless of your legal status. They guarantee there will be no cost until they win. PHP will be there to assist you and help you navigate the complicated legal process. Call them now at 316-683-9080 or find them online at phpattorneys.com to schedule your free consultation today.
Pay heed. All who enter
A swat on one end, a poster on the other. What a sequence.
join the Jayhawks all season on the hardwood.
He hit it from way downtown.
The legacy continues right here on your home for Kansas Jayhawk basketball.
Saturday, Kansas faces NC State. Hear the tip-off at 4:30 on the home of the Jayhawks, ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM.
Jack was really good this past weekend. Got back in the race. Time for Pick Six, brought to you by Busch Light. Chance Lebo is here. Jack, myself. We'll make our picks as we normally do here on a Thursday at this time. And also a bonus game to pick for y'all out there. More on that in a moment. But as of right this second, up to date, standings are as follows. Chance is 69 and 62, either betting against the spread or the totals. That's how we do things at Pick Six. Jack went 7-1 last weekend. The only loss was the Philadelphia game on Monday Night Football. But Jack is now 63, 67-1. So in theory, 6 games behind Chance in the win column. And I am bringing up the rear at 53, 77-1. I went 3-5. Chance went 4-4. And Jack, of course, went 7-1. We will pick the only college football game. That's the Army-Navy game. And the rest, I suppose, except for maybe the wild card, we go to the NFL. Good thing that this weekend is a good NFL weekend. There have been some where the good games are few and far between, but we feel like we got a bunch of good ones in the NFL. So we'll pick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those, our wild card. And y'all out there are going to pick a basketball game if you want to get a chance to win the Busch Light sign that we give away at the end of the season. We will begin with Chance Lebo, our leader, and it will be the Army-Navy game. Army comes in a 6-point underdog, and the total in that is 38.5. Our one of our last, the last regular season college football games. Chance, you go first. What you got?
Well, it's always a patriotic thing to do to bet on the country's defense. So I'm going to take the under 38.5. This game is going to be a rock fight. Navy's actually pretty good. Army stinks. Army doesn't stink, but I've always been privy to Navy. I've always kind of been on the Navy side. When we ran the option in high school, we always called it Navy formation. That was, we were Navy right, Navy left. So I've always been kind of a Navy guy. I think this spread is about right. I think this is going to be a low-scoring ball game. 38.5 is a really low total. Navy's one of the best in the country in explosive play rate, so that might get this in trouble. But this is one of those games where you never know what's going to happen, and that's what makes it so exciting. So I'll just take the under 38.5 because I know that my country's got some good defense.
Good logic. All right, Jack, what do you think?
This will sound so unpatriotic, but this is just
game.
one of the most unwatchable football games. I cannot stand options back and forth.
Navy's 9-2. Come on, man.
Yeah, sure. I don't
Going to the
care.
playoff.
It's the way. Yeah. Oh, great. Even better. That's just the only thing awesome about this is the atmosphere is really cool, and I support the troops and everything about that. Everything about it is patriotic and awesome, except for the football itself. I don't like the old school. I like the ball being thrown around. For this game exactly, though, opened at 4, I see. Now it's up to 6. Navy can score a little bit. They took down Memphis by double digits there. Army, on their other hand, they don't really score. Good defenses on both sides here, but Navy's 9-2 for a reason. I'd imagine they're a touchdown better than the Black Knights here. So give me Navy here to win outright.
Well, I will not only go contrarian because, I need to, and who cares? I'm 24 under 500. But because it's Army-Navy and because there's a bit of unpredictability, I'll take the points. So I'll take Army plus 6. So we split all across the board. Jack, you go first here. It's the first of many NFL games. It's the Chargers visiting the Chiefs. Los Angeles plus 5.5. And for a second straight week, pretty low total. 41.5 is a total. Who you got?
I really am curious what version of the Chiefs show up. Is this going to be a team that's completely dejected? They're out of it. They know their season's over. Or will this finally be that week that they come out ready to play? They beat up on a bad Chargers offensive line. They beat up on Justin Herbert. Thing is, we don't know. I don't know. I thought at one point I would be able to predict things like this, but I'm going to go back to my strategy from last week, where, of course, I was a dominant 7-1 and so much better than both of you. I'm going to go with the under in this game. The Chiefs' offense sucks. It's putrid to watch. It's awful. They usually don't play well against the Chargers, offensively speaking, at home. I don't know why in games like this. The Chargers, hey, they could have a couple of JV squad guys out there. The only one that's getting pressure on the quarterback will be Chris Jones. Everybody else, they'll just be content rolling around in the mud or something like that. So I feel it'll be another low-scoring game. Don't feel confident in picking a winner. So that total, whatever it's at, I feel it'll be another 21-17 type game or a 20-17.
Okay. So under 41.5 for Jack. Man, if Steve Spagnuolo does anything close to what he did against C.J. Stroud, Chiefs ought to be in good shape when it comes to bottling up Justin Herbert, who's already obviously banged up because he hurt his left hand a couple of weeks ago. He's got screws and a plate in there. He's got a kind of a big glove on his left hand, et cetera, et cetera. But betting against the Chiefs as a routine favorite week after week has probably had you cashing out some good money, maybe except for the Colts game. I can't recall. I remember live betting that game and the Colts blew it for me, but continually putting the Chiefs as a favorite, I'll be more than happy to take the Chargers in those 5.5 points. I thought it would be a smaller spread than this, more like 3.5, but I'll gladly take the Chargers plus 5.5 until the Chiefs prove me otherwise. Chance?
I'm going to take the Chiefs here just because I think that the Chargers are not as good as they had, 5 takeaways against the Eagles and barely hung on in overtime. I just don't think that happens against the Chiefs. The Chargers are so banged up. The Chiefs are at home. This is an early kickoff. I just think the Chiefs are a much better team here than the Chargers for some reason. I don't know why. But I just do think that this is going to be a game where the Chiefs are able to maybe win. 23-17 feels close enough to me. I just don't think that this is a game that's relatively close except for on the scoreboard. And even then, I think that the Chiefs still win by a touchdown. So give me the Chiefs minus 5.5.
Okay. Big one in the AFC East. Buffalo visiting New England. Buffalo is a 1.5 point favorite. The total is 50.5, a very college-like total. I'll go first here and take the over. Buffalo has been not only pretty unstoppable offensively the last couple of weeks, but they've been kind of like a sieve defensively. And I think this is finally a spot where New England, and they have a chance for the sweep, by the way. I think New England keeps up with them and they go over 50.5. So I'll go with the total in a coin flip game otherwise. Chance, what do you think?
Yeah, I'll play the Bills here. I'll take them. I'd probably like them more on the money line, but I'll just take them minus 1.5. I think they're just kind of lying in the weeds a little bit. I think they are sensing the opportunity now that the Chiefs are kind of bowing out of the playoff race. So I think the Bills go into New England. Just check the weather. It's supposed to be 29 degrees with a chance of snow on Sunday. So give me the Bills. I think that Josh Allen plays in the snow a little bit better than Drake May does. I just think that the Bills and their running game are a little bit better suited for that. So give me Buffalo and the 1.5.
All right, Jack, you're next.
I'm not saying the Patriots are this exact team, but the first team that came to mind when they've had this ridiculous run they've been on was the 2013 Chiefs when they started 9-0 in Andy Reid's first season in Kansas City. They were so fun to watch. Alex Smith was playing well. You had Jamal Charles. They took the league by storm. It was a team that was awful the year before. They win their first 9 games. And then they went 2-5 the rest of the way. I'm not saying the Patriots are going to have a really bad finish to the year, but they've played a last place schedule, and they've done a lot with it. They did beat Buffalo, went into Buffalo and won that game, but I don't see the Patriots being good enough to sweep Buffalo. It's still a Bills team that I would take as the favorite to represent the AFC in the postseason if they do get there, whether they're a wild card team or not, which, of course, they are going to be. This feels like if they get some revenge back. And when was the last time the Patriots played a competent football team? I'm trying to remember. Was it Buffalo?
Buffalo, maybe.
And that was years ago. So I'm going to go with Buffalo here going into Foxborough, getting some revenge back for losing on Sunday Night Football earlier this year.
Chance, you go first here. The afternoon games, couple of good ones. Green Bay visiting Denver. It's 9-3 versus 11-2. Green Bay is favored. They are laying 2.5 at Mile High or Invesco or whatever they call it. Empower Field at Mile High. Packers minus 2.5. Total is 42.5. I can't wait to hear this.
It's a really low total.
It is.
I think this is an over. I like both the quarterbacks. I kind of come around on both of them. I don't love Bo Nix. I don't love Jordan Love. But in the current landscape of the playoff field, I think that either of these quarterbacks could have could take the reins. And I think that this game goes over the 42.5. One thing both these quarterbacks do sometimes is turn the football over, and that leads to short fields. You got two really good kickers. So I think this is going to go over the 42.5. I just think that both offenses are really clicking at this point of their season. So 42.5 is really low. I mean, I'll check the weather here to see what it's looking
55
like.
55 degrees. Perfectly fine.
Yeah, I don't know what this total's doing all the way down at 42.5. So I guess I'll take the over in a weirdly warm December game in Denver.
No doubt. Jack, you're next.
I'll go with Green Bay here. I mean, kind of the same thing with New England. Denver has found a lot of ways to win some tight games. They've played some lesser opponents, and I feel they've been more impressive than New England based on their schedule here. Green Bay, though, I thought the win last week in Chicago is a bit of their catapult. I've gone back and forth on them a few times this year. Going into the year, they were my favorite out of the NFC to get to the Super Bowl. Then they let me down in losing to the Browns, and I believe they lost to the Giants as well. They're a weird team, but they seem to show up when they play good competition. This is good competition for them in Mile High against Denver. Low total because these are two great defenses, but Micah Parsons off the edge going up against Bo Nix. I feel this Packers defensive front can discombobulate him a little bit. Will be a close one, but I'll go with the Pack to win this one in Denver.
I like the Packers too. I'll also take them. Josh Jacobs having a good year on the ground, 12 rushing touchdowns. I think he goes over 100 yards and scores a touchdown. So give me Green Bay. There's a reason why they're favored. I'll take them. I think they win by a field goal. So I'll go with Jack here. Jack, you go first on Detroit and the Rams. The line is Detroit plus 5.5 on the road at SoFi. And that total is 55.5. All right, Jack, lead us off.
Now, this is probably the game of the week, maybe even the game of the year, and this could be a matchup for the Super Bowl. This could be an NFC Championship preview here. The Rams have been so great to watch, and I'm not even sure they're getting the love that they deserve. And I can say this as a Chiefs fan. I feel that the focus this year has not really been on the best teams, the true best teams out there. It's been on the underachieving teams. It's like, what happened to Kansas City? What happened to Buffalo? What happened to Philadelphia? And we've just swept this under the rug that the Rams could be the Super Bowl winner again. Matt Stafford's second Super Bowl in L.A. and another great year for Sean McVay. The Lions, they're tough to predict, man. I feel like they still have the explosive offense. That defense sucks, and I felt like that was going to be a case coming into the year. But they've let me down more than a few times. They are that weird volatile team, though, where just when you think they got you back in, they seem to pee down their leg a little bit. And then when you think they're completely out, they pull you back in. The Rams, though, far more consistent. I bet against them when the Seahawks played them. I'm not doing that again. This feels like a Rams team I should continue to roll with. Don't feel confident in having a shootout where that over hits. So I'll just go with the Rams straight up to win this game.
So will I. I'll lay the 5.5 as well. I'm glad it is at 5.5. If it were 6 or higher, maybe be a little more nervy. But I want to take the over, but man, that's a lot of points. So I will settle with LA because the Lions are 3-3 on the road. Chance?
The Detroit Lions, since 2021, since Dan Campbell took over, as an underdog, are covering at a 65% clip, almost 2 out of 3 times. They are 24-13 against the spread as an underdog. I think they cover this one. 5.5 is a lot of points, especially for a team coming off of a lengthened stretch. You're coming off of the Thursday night game. They also had the Thanksgiving game, so you're getting more rest for the Lions. So I think that they cover here. I think 5.5 seems really rich. 3.5 is what I would have probably set this at if I were Vegas. But this is an intriguing game. The Rams, I believe they're coming off a loss this last week, or did they reset this last week?
They blew out the Cardinals this past week.
Okay, so yeah, 2 weeks ago they were coming off the loss. But I like the Lions here. 5.5 is a lot of points for as good of a team as they are. And, we brought it up when the Bucs played the Bills. This total of 55.5 also has my attention because remember that game last year when Buffalo and LA just went back and forth and up and down. I think we could see something similar in this game. So, but I will like the Lions plus 5.5.
There's always one of those every year.
Oh, man.
And this could be it.
Hell, we might have had it with Tampa and Seattle early in the season. Remember that one?
True.
Yeah.
I will take, let's see, what do we got? Me and Jack on LA laying the points, and Chance is taking Detroit plus 6.5. I'll go first here. Dallas. I'm going to lay the 5.5. That's the spread with Minnesota. I think J.J. McCarthy reverts back to a bad game. He had a good game, but wasn't asked to do a whole lot in their last game that they played. I will take the lay the 5.5 with Dallas. Kind of thought about the over 47.5, but I'll leave that alone. So give me Dallas now that they got a little bit of life after the Eagles lost on Monday Night Football. Dallas minus 5.5 for me. Chance.
Yep, I'm on the same thing. I like the Cowboys laying the 5.5. I think that this is a game where the Cowboys back against the wall. They need to win big time. Vikings season's pretty much over. JJ McCarthy looks awful. I mean, maybe he turns it around. He's always been a big game guy. I remember that Monday night game he had against the Bears where he came out of nowhere and kind of surprised everybody.
Yep.
The Lions game when he came back. So maybe this is a spot where he turns the haters around. And but I just think the Cowboys are a much better team, and they're playing really, really well despite that loss on Thursday night. So give me the Cowboys.
Jack, what do you think?
Yeah, I feel the only way that the Vikings can win this football game outright is they're going to have to win a shootout, and they can't score, and they have a bad quarterback. And Dallas, on the other hand, good offense, good quarterback play. The only way I could see this game being close is if Dallas overlooks them, what they don't really have the fortune of doing. I mean, it is back against the wall, as Chance said. They have looked really good over their last 4 games. I think they keep it going here. Give me the Cowboys the roll.
All right, Chance, wild card. Lead us off.
Well, you told a lie at the beginning of the show. You said we're going to pick the only game on Saturday in college football.
Oop.
The LA Bowl, the final edition, Boise State and Washington. I'm going to take the over 52.5 in the LA Bowl. It surprised me that this game was on Saturday. It caught me off guard as well.
There are a couple of them, yeah.
Yeah, it's 7 o'clock on Saturday. So I think this game goes over. Usually in these bowl games where, they're playing, but they're not really all that invested in it. I think you see a bunch of arm tackles. You see a bunch of business decisions.
Mhm.
I think this is going to be a game where you see Maddox Madsen, Damon Williams just slinging it around, and this game goes over 52.5 in a dome, fast track in LA.
To be fair, I said the last regular season.
Okay.
So
good call.
Anyway,
Good call.
but yes, heads up, everybody. Bowls are coming. All right, Jack, your wild card.
I'll go with college basketball again, even though the lines aren't out. You got a top 25 showdown. I know Jamie Bloom is not going to love to hear this, but Nebraska and their undefeated record is going to Champaign to take on the Fighting Illini of Illinois. Nebraska has been so impressive, not just this week, all season long. They can put up a lot of points, and I feel they are going to go dancing this year, but this feels to me like their first legitimate test.
Mhm.
They're away from Lincoln. They've won some big neutral site games. They can light it up, but the Fighting Illini have a bunch of the European guys, the length, the size. They can shoot it. Brad Underwood's got that team rolling a little bit after they lost to UConn, which seems like everybody in the country has lost to UConn other than Arizona at this point. But this is a good spot for Illinois. Not that I think Nebraska is going to get crushed, but I feel it's that letdown spot where you beat up on more of a softer schedule to begin with. Now you got that first true test, a Big Ten matchup. Give me the Illini to win and cover.
Okay, I'm going back to the NFL. I think the whatever honeymoon that there is for Shedeur Sanders is going to be stopped by the Bears. Give me Chicago minus 7.5 against Cleveland. You can hear that game right here on the channel, by the way. The noon game, the first of 3 here on ESPN Wichita. So give me the Bears. They're going to be mad about that failure in Green Bay, and they're going to lay the. I'm going to lay the 7.5. I think they kill the Browns. All right.
2.5 is the line for Nebraska and Illinois for those.
Oh, okay. There you go. Illinois over Nebraska. For those of you out there that want to get qualified to win the Busch Light neon sign, Arizona is playing Alabama in basketball this weekend, and it is a neutral site game, but only kind of. It's a semi-home game for Alabama, even though it's not in Tuscaloosa. But I have set the line, and Jack or Chance, maybe you can either confirm or deny.
Nothing out there right now.
Okay, I'm setting it at 3.5. Arizona minus 3.5, playing Alabama in Birmingham. That's where the game's being played. So you tell me who's going to cover, listeners. 316-247-0923. Arizona or Alabama? Arizona is a 3.5-point favorite according to me. You take Zona or you take Bama, and text me that team at 316-247-0923. If you're on the right side, you go into the hopper as one of the very latest to get an opportunity to win that Busch Light sign. All right, there you go. That is Pick 6 brought to you by Busch Light. When we come back, we'll talk to Jamie Bluma next.
You're listening to The Shane Dennis Show on ESPN Wichita.
This segment is brought to you by the Kansas Department of Transportation, who reminds you if you feel different, you drive different. Celebrate responsibly and make a plan before you start drinking.
Hey, it's Sean Tarbell with Davis Moore Chevrolet. Celebrate the Red Tag sales event with huge year-end savings on all makes and models. Check out 2026 Chevy Silverado 1500 Crew Cab Custom 4x4 and save up to $12,000 off MSRP or get 0% financing. Check out the 2026 Chevy Colorado Z71 4x4 with up to $8,000 off MSRP and 3.9% financing for 60 months. Together, let's drive at Davis Moore Chevrolet, located
James
under
been
the Big
acquired.
American flag at Kellogg and Tyler.
Roger.
Or check us out online at davis-moorechevrolet.com. All offers plus tag, title, tax, and administrative fees expire January 2nd, 2026.
What do people with blindness or low vision need to live to the fullest? Just ask them. It's skill development, scientific breakthroughs, knowledge-based jobs, and the same opportunities as everyone else. When you give to Envision, whether it be your time, donations, or your engagement, you make it all possible. That's because at Envision, they don't focus on the disability. They value the ability. They choose not to envision a world without sight, but to envision a world where people who are blind or visually impaired are empowered to reach their full potential. Learn more at envisionus.com.
Looking for expert tech help? Ribbit Computer Services has you covered. With 2 Wichita locations at 3433 North Rock Road and 125th Northwest Street, plus our Derby store at 2100 North Rock Road. We're your go-to for computer repairs, IT solutions, and more. Our skilled technicians provide fast, friendly service to keep your devices running smoothly. Need a fix? Hop on over to Ribbit Computer Services today.
Are y'all ready for live entertainment? Gilly's Grand Opening Concert Series kicks off December 15th. And listen close, because there are only 500 tickets for each show. That's right, only 500 to see Colt Ford, Aaron Tippin, Low Cash, and more in an intimate, high-energy honky-tonk experience you won't get anywhere else. It's live music with room at the bar and room to dance. When those 500 tickets are gone, they're gone. Gilly's Park City. Get your tickets now at playgillies.com, where country music is live.
On ESPN Wichita, the best things on NFL Sundays just happen to come in threes. The first pits the emerging Chicago Bears against the Cleveland Browns. They kick off Sunday afternoon at 1. At 3, Jared Goff makes his return to L.A. as the Rams host the Detroit Lions. Then at 7:20, it's Sunday Night Football with the Minnesota Vikings traveling west to face the Dallas Cowboys. It's an NFL threesome this Sunday on ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM.
Justin Curry's birthday. He's singing this. This is Roll to Me. Time now to visit with Jamie Bluma for the first time in a couple of weeks, actually. He's brought to you by American Shaman Wichita, American Shaman Derby. Check out Jeff and the gang at either location. American Shaman Botanicals, life is better with the feather. You weren't able to talk to us last week, Jamie, because you were getting ready for Bluma Palooza. Now, don't normally give shout outs for fundraisers, but I'll make an exception for you, not only because we're boys, but because of the money that you raise and what you raise it for. Tell us all about the latest iteration of Bluma Palooza. How did it go?
It actually turned out really good, man. I was sad you weren't there. This was the 11th version of Bluma Palooza. We took last year off because Emily and I got married. Started Reader's Digest version. We started in 2014. Kind of a homage to my father, who was an F-4 pilot in Vietnam. So that's the red, white, and Bluma spin. The first year, every dollar went to Folds of Honor, which is based out of Owasso these days. But it's really morphed into not just military-based nonprofits that I know here in Kansas City and around the area, but any other nonprofit in Kansas City that's reached out to me, and I kind of vet exactly where the money goes. And that includes Children's Mercy Hospital. That includes Variety Kansas City, Live Like Luke, Carl's Cause, a whole bunch of different charities here in Kansas City. So I just like to know exactly where the money goes. And it's been great. We've been lucky enough. We raised another $100,000 this year. So that makes $800,000 over the 11 years that we've done it. I can't thank, I'll give Katie O'Neill a shout out. She helped me redesign and build a proper website to redwhiteandbluma.org. or redwhiteandbluma.com, same thing. And you can see a list of the organizations that I've helped support over the last 11 years, at least to some degree. I mean, I wish I could give more always. But we have a silent auction. We have a raffle. We always have music. This year we included food. It's just a good time. And I can't thank all the people that have been coming for all these years and for all the new people that came again this time for the first time. It's the latest we've ever done it, December. So always a little bit of challenges with that, but everything turned out great. And we're just working on a date for next year. And if you ever get a chance, I know the walk-ups, Casey's dad and mom were up here. They've been a couple times, and a couple other things they've been a part of. So Doug Lampton's been a few times. Todd Nova's gone, some Wichita people. So just a great time. I mean, I don't have a bunch of personal wealth myself, so it's been fun to be able to create a nonprofit to raise some money to help those in need and to be able to give it back.
How come? You alluded to your dad a little bit, but what was really the thing that was the tipping point? You said and made you say, I need to do this.
The tipping point was probably 2013. I was friends with a couple guys, Noe Palma, who's played every Blumapalooza, and Travis Marvin, and they had done some work for charity, and I've done some work for charity here in town, but always I have time, and I know with all the people that I know and the platform that I have, I'm like, man, there's got to be I can put something together. Everybody has a golf tournament. I don't want to bang on anybody that has a golf tournament. And I said that to Dan Rooney with Folds of Honor the first year. I said, God bless everybody that has a golf tournament, but everybody does that. Can I do something completely different and have a concert and all that kind of stuff and try to raise money? And that first year, we raised a few $1,000s, and then I came up with Red, White, and Bluma, my 501c3, and it's just really grown from there. I mean, I didn't think even in my wildest dreams that we'd ever have a year we would raise over $100,000, and actually this was either the third or the fourth year in a row that we raised over 100, and that goes directly back to all the organizations that I support. We don't have I'm the staff, Emily, and I, and the volunteers that help us out. I mean, we don't have any paid employees with Red, White, and Bluma, which is different than a lot of charities where somebody's working for the charity. Obviously, that's their full-time job and they collect a salary. This is all volunteer work. Even myself, my accountant always gets mad at me that I haven't paid myself. I said that wasn't the idea in the first place, and it still isn't now. So to be able to do that and be able to give back to other organizations, and selfishly, it gives me an opportunity to play golf and give to some organizations and kind of talk about the things that I do. And so not only are we helping support those organizations, in return, I get a whole lot of support here in town. And it's been you've been there and some of the fun things that go on. We had a band this year who, if you ever listen to Stephen St. John, his son is in Dole White. And they're an 80s, 90s hip hop band, and they've wanted to do it for years. And I stuck to the country thing, including Darryl Worley 2 years ago for the 10th anniversary. But we had Dole White this year, and they're just a blast. They're just fun energy and 80s, 90s hip hop, all in track suits, and to see, our age crowd out there having a good time and dancing and all that stuff is a really good time. So I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to talk a little bit about it, because it's something I'm really proud of.
Our age crowd, nicely worded. Thank you for that. In addition, before we put that to bed, though, in addition to helping a great cause and having a great time because of the live music, the food, the drink, and all that stuff, if you like the Royals and you like the Chiefs, will you talk about an opportunity to get unique items when it comes to memorabilia, whether for yourself or as a gift for Christmas? Blumapalooza is right up your alley when it comes to that, right?
I tell you what, that worked out pretty good with the kind of being, in December, it was a little bit of a Christmas shopping spree. So I had, from the Chiefs, I had a Kelsey helmet, I had a Kelsey jersey, I had a Rasheed Rice jersey, a Jamal Charles, Christian Okoye. I actually had one of the Kelsey 4-foot tall bobbleheads. I had a Taylor Swift guitar. And then on the Royals side, I had George Brett, Bobby Witt, Salvi, Pasquantino, a bunch of that kind of stuff, helmets, balls, bats. The Royals were nice enough to donate 4 tickets and really good seats with some on-field VP passes.
There you go.
Which was a big hit this year. And just some other unique items that you can't maybe find anywhere else and stuff like that. So it was fun. And it's always, I think next year I'll maybe finally make the turn to do the auction online, so people all over can bid on stuff. Where I kind of like the whole throwing elbows when the auction items get to the end, and that happened again, as you well know, if you've seen in the past. But, the Pedro Guerrero glove, I had an autographed Pedro Guerrero glove, went for a pretty good chunk of change. And if anybody, and you and Jack and some of the guys know the story, maybe if you check a podcast, I can tell that story at some point.
Yeah, I'm a proud owner of an autographed helmet in baseball of former 81 NLCS MVP Pedro Guerrero. How about the Royals getting the 6th overall pick in the draft coming up next summer? They kind of went the other way as far as the luck of the draw the last couple of years. And, of course, in 2024 had Jack Caglione kind of slide to them at 6, but they weren't expected to be that high as far as the mathematical probability. But boy, the Royals landed on their feet when it came to getting the 6th pick this year, right?
Well, I tell you what, yeah, I mean, that's awesome. And we've been a little bit snake bit by how all that shook out. And not only is the 6th pick a big deal, but because we picked that high, our bonus pool is that much more. And I think that's an even bigger deal maybe than the actual pick. And I heard you and Jack talking yesterday about, where's the cutoff on, quote unquote, can't miss guys, because you just never know. I mean, a Mike Trout went 28th or whatever in the draft. So every different year, you always want to pick higher to the top because you get a better opportunity to pick the guy that you want. But at the same time, I think that gave us, if these numbers are right, I think we maybe get $2.7 million more dollars in our bonus pool to be able to spread that around to all of our draft picks. So always trying to reload and get some really good guys on the top part of the draft is big to building back up the talent in the minor leagues to give you an opportunity to supplement those big league rosters every single year.
Royals didn't seem to be in the Pete Alonso or Kyle Schwarber sweepstakes, but as Jack and I were talking earlier, Mike Yastrzemski was kind of on the Royals' radar, obviously a former Royal, but now he's in Atlanta for 2 years and $23 million. Jack and I both thought that was too rich for the Royals' blood, especially for the plans that they had for him. Do you agree?
I do, and I was actually excited for Mike Yastrzemski to get that kind of contract. Right. I mean, the 50 games that he played for us and the power that he showed really gave him an opportunity to land a $20 million plus deal. So I'm happy for Mike Yastrzemski, but selfishly, he was a guy that I really liked what he did when he was here. And so obviously we're going to have to start to turn our thoughts, and everybody talks about with the depth of pitching that we have, what we're going to do. I was wondering if something was going to get done while the winter meetings were going on, but just some of those big guys that I don't think we're in the running for kind of are starting to come off the board a little bit. So I'm excited to see what shrewd ideas JJ's got in the works with some of this pitching to try to go out there and get. He did an amazing job going and get a couple guys for a backup catcher late in the year last year. So looking forward to what we're going to do moving forward.
We talked, Jack and I did just a little bit earlier about it seems like some of the better transactions over the last 2 off seasons were the ones the Royals didn't make. You and I, Jamie, have talked about Santander, and he was on the Royals wish list, and that didn't work out because the Royals didn't get him. So in essence, it did work out because he turned out to be a bum, or at least in 2025 he did. So sometimes if you got your eye on certain players as a fan, we're kind of shifting now to our fandom. It takes, number one, it takes 2 to tango. And if you're going to come out on the better end of a deal, AKA fleecing another team, you probably got to do that at the minor league level, because you're not going to trade a big leaguer for a big leaguer, and one's going to turn out to be an all-star and the other one's going to turn out to be a complete bust. So you certainly got to do your homework a little bit more than Joe Fan, who maybe doesn't know everybody that's in AA, right? That's where you really make your hay, and you got to do your homework when you're trading for minor leaguers.
100%. Jurickson Profar comes to mind as a guy that was kind of on our wish list, in the winter last year, and that was obviously a bust with him too. And we went and did the India trade, and that was at the time like, man, we were pretty excited about that was going to work out better than it did, and it didn't. It didn't turn out as well on our side as it did for the Reds. But that was a deal that I think that we were all happy about with at the time. So. Sometimes those things blow up in your face. I wouldn't say that one completely blew up in your face, but you sure hoped India was going to have a little bit better year setting the table than he did. And so you said it exactly. You got to go out there and do your homework. Try to go. I know Pete Crow Armstrong not Pete Crow Armstrong. Owen Cassidy was a guy that we talked about a little bit at the trade deadline last year that, you know what, we got some starting pitching. I don't know what the Cubs, obviously, he's in their plans, but I think not only is JJ going to listen on just about everybody, but, you know, maybe the Cubs and some of those other teams out there that have guys like that are probably pretty close to being big league ready, but haven't gotten an opportunity to break in and make a name for themselves somewhere else, is who we got to be looking at moving forward.
Are you okay with Cole Reagans being untouchable when it comes to trades?
I mean, I guess, and he still scares me. I mean, he's a little bit of volatile. Obviously, his stuff is his stuff, and when he's on, he's one of the best left-handers in the American League for sure. But he's a little bit volatile still for me. I mean, he's just never, except for that 1 year, been able to put an entire season together. And we talked about this at the end of last season. For him to work that hard to get back to the team, you can tell that his work ethic and all that stuff moving forward. He's looking for a big year this year. So in that regard, I think he should be this winter. But I don't think, unless it's a guy like Bobby Witt Jr. or something like that, anybody's quote unquote always untouchable until the right deal comes along, and those things happen.
That's true too. You make somebody an offer you can't refuse, and short of Bobby Witt Jr., of course. But I should have clarified. I was talking about the pitching staff. He seems to be the only guy JJ would be unwilling to part with, but you never know. And I guess we'll find out hopefully by the next time we talk. Good catching up. Congrats on Bloomapalooza. Again, one more time before we leave, where can people go if they want to be a part of it next year or help you, et cetera, et cetera? Give us that website again, will you?
redwhiteandbluma.org or redwhiteandbluma.com, all spelled out with the A-N-D. Check it out, man, if anything, and you can donate there, or you can just check out all the things. I'm going to upload a bunch. I had a videographer that was there the other night, and we're actually going to start selling some merchandise and stuff online, so we're stepping up the game a little bit. But just go in there and check out, and just at least, very least, look at the organizations that we've been able to help out. There's links to all their stuff that they're doing, and it's just been fun to be able to help support some other well-deserving organizations.
All right, we'll talk to you one more time, and then we'll give you 2 Thursdays off from now. How about that? Because that's Christmas.
I've had enough time off to put me on whenever you want.
Well, we're not going to have a show on Christmas, but we'll talk soon. All right, there goes Jamie Bluma, brought to you by American Shaman. Wichita, life is better with the feather. I'm old. Jack Young, next.
You're listening to the Shane Dennis Show on ESPN Wichita.
Big or small, every project deserves a win. From updating your fireplace to creating the perfect patio, Lusco Brick and Stone gives you the strength and style to get it done right. For more than a century, Wichita families and builders have trusted Lusco for brick, stone, and hardscape materials that outlast competition and bring lasting beauty to every project. Check out their products online at luscobrick.com. Lusco Brick and Stone, Wichita is strong since 1907.
What do people with blindness or low vision need to live to the fullest? Just ask them. It's skill development, scientific breakthroughs, knowledge-based jobs, and the same opportunities as everyone else. When you give to Envision, whether it be your time, donations, or your engagement, you make it all possible. That's because at Envision, they don't focus on the disability. They value the ability. They choose not to envision a world without sight, but to envision a world where people who are blind or visually impaired are empowered to reach their full potential. Learn more at envisionus.com.
Research shows listeners prefer a personalized experience. So to help you remember, Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance. We personalized this ad for Amber, who really misses boy bands from the 90s.
Hey girl, I'm the cute one, here to tell you how Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
I'm the heartthrob. The only thing I love more than you is saving. And I'm the other boy in the band everyone forgot about.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Oh, I can't believe tax season is here already. Look at all this info I have to enter.
Phil's small accounting firm is growing in numbers.
Why didn't I take that typing class in high school?
A data entry specialist could really help him in a crunch.
I got blisters on my fingers.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed, you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
If you're craving a taco with a touch of tradition, stop by Taco Pronto. Family owned and operated for 55 years, Taco Pronto makes all their food in-house using the freshest ingredients at prices you can't beat. Drive through today and take advantage of Taco Pronto's daily specials or grab a 12-pack of tacos for only $11.99. Taco Pronto, located at 8385 West 21st Street North, or order online at TacoProntoWichita.com.
Taco Pronto, old-fashioned service.
Are you looking for the perfect blend of football and betting insight? One of the Chances has you covered live every Sunday at the FanDuel Sportsbook inside the Kansas Star Casino at 11 a.m. Each week, we break down the biggest games, hottest lines, and smartest plays to keep you in the know before kickoff. It's everything you need to stay ahead of the action. It's One of the Chances, only at the Kansas Star Casino, 11 a.m. every Sunday on ESPN Wichita, 92.3 FM.
I heard you're feeling nothing's going right. Why don't you let me stop by? The clock is ticking, running out of time, so we should party all night. So cover your eyes, I have a surprise. I hope you got a healthy appetite. If you wanna dance, if you want it all, you know that
I'm old, Jack's young. 144. Pat's here. The Pulse is coming your way shortly. Pat, do you know who this is?
Yes.
Jack, is this a individual or a group?
Individual.
Yeah. Read that.
You've had this person before.
Did I get it right?
I think so.
Jack, can you confirm?
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Great. Grand.
Well, I know.
Wonderful.
Yeah. I know what it sounds like, but I didn't know she had a song that I wasn't aware of. And I'm not aware of this song. So, armed with that knowledge, I'm going to have to go with who it sounds like. And it sounds like Katy Perry.
Correct.
Was this a hit and I missed it?
Yep.
Dang.
It's pretty popular.
Okay. I timed that up just right too, didn't I?
See, you're turning into
turning into you.
You're turning into the guy that says, I don't know. I just have one guess.
Right. That's my mom during trivia too. I don't know. She always seems to get that right.
Just spare us the time. Just give us your answer.
Just let us know your guess.
Yeah, no one likes a know-it-all.
Stop it with the drama.
Yeah.
Oh, God, he's smart. All
You're
right.
trying to lessen the blow if you get it wrong.
That's it. That's 100% what it is.
You guys seeing right through me.
Exactly it.
December 11, born day today. Shift the spotlight to old Jack now. Malcolm Brogdon, 35.
Virginia Cavalier.
Okay. Take your word for it. Correct. Sharif Abdur Rahim, 49.
Well, that would be basketball.
That's right.
I believe a Grizzly.
That's also right. Yes.
Before they ruined their jerseys.
Before they moved to Memphis.
Yeah.
That was a problem. Francisco Rodriguez, 53.
K-Rod. And still
No. Well,
Wait, you said
is it?
Wait,
Is
he's
that
not
same
53.
one?
Well, it's baseball. Like, clearly not if he's 53, right?
Well, see, that's
That's a good question.
getting.
If it's the K-Rod we're thinking of, he's still the single season saves leader for that
So-
02 Angels team.
Would he be older or younger than that?
Gosh, I bet that lines up. That sounds right.
Maybe.
2002, I'm guessing he would have been in his 20s, and that was 23
Well, I mean,
years ago.
He's my age. So do you think he's old as me? I guess so, right? It's been a while.
You know what? Let's just Google it. But it is a fun game to guess. If he's not 53, I bet he's like 49.
Interesting.
Francisco.
Fun fact, he was born in Brooklyn. I wouldn't have guessed that.
And that's why it could be a different.
Hate to pigeonhole
Okay.
someone named
It
Francisco.
is not him. It
Okay,
is not
different
him.
one. All right, good. All right,
Gosh,
but you got
so
it right.
He's 43, and he would have been. Is that right? He would have been 20.
K-Rod, yeah, he was super young when he was striking out the world.
Well,
yeah,
He was 20. No, it was 08. I was thinking the wrong Angels year. He was 26 when he had 62 saves.
throwing nothing but breaking balls.
Mm-hmm. So whoever this Francisco Rodriguez is, apologize, but
Former
baseball.
Twin pitcher, it says here. So
And both pitchers.
So there you go. Willie McGinnis, 54.
Running back.
You write sport, but no. Who are you thinking of?
He's thinking Willis McGahee.
There we go.
That's probably what
wrong,
I'm thinking of.
Wrong Willis.
Half point.
And because this is Willie. But anyway, Eric Rhett, 55.
Football?
Yeah, running back. You better get this one. Danon Hughes, 55.
Chief.
Correct. Same day, same year. Doug Nussmeier, 55.
Football?
Yep, backup quarterback. Kind of a rando. Good job. Way to hang in there. Jay Bell, 60.
Baseball.
Was he the guy you looked up to when you were a wee lad? Or was that
Not
Grudzalonic?
particularly. Oh, Grudzalonic for sure.
Yeah, okay.
I wore 15 because of Mark Grudzalonic.
Fun fact.
That is a fun fact.
Why would
Of
you
all
choose that
people,
number?
yeah. You can't accuse young Jack of being a front runner. Rooting for Mark Grudzalonic.
Well, I'm sure the reason why you picked your number is probably pretty easy.
It is. First of all, it was available. Second of all, Nolan Ryan used to wear it.
Pretty simple.
Mm-hmm. I was pretty pleased 34 was available.
As you should be.
Mike Henneman, 64.
Hey, he was the
Your boy.
Yeah, he's the Monarchs pitching coach when I
Yeah.
worked there before working here. But former Tiger.
Yeah.
And has we bring up Sparky Anderson a lot, and I feel bad that I'm bringing up this story, but it's an awesome one that when he was with the Tigers, the Tigers been playing poorly or whatnot, and kind of it reminds you of Bull Durham when they get off the bus or whatever, and Annie's there
Mhm.
waiting for Nuke and everything. Like the wives are there, the girlfriends are there waiting to pick them up and then go back home. And
Mhm.
anyways, in this story, Mike Henneman was getting off the bus or plane, wherever it was, and his wife was there to pick him up and, asking that, how are you? How was the flight and stuff? And they'd had a bad road trip. And so he was kind of in a bad mood and just kind of shrugged her off a little bit. And next day, Sparky Anderson calls him into the office and was like, I need you to come and talk to me for a second. And he goes, if you ever disregard your wife like
Wow.
that again, you'll never pitch here again.
Damn.
And then Mike Henneman was like, never happened again.
That's an interesting flex by a manager.
I like that story.
Respect your wife or else.
Boy, someone could have used that information.
Boy, oh boy. As soon as I said it. that's what
You
I thought.
knew.
We were all thinking
We
it.
were all thinking it.
If only Sparky Anderson were on the Michigan coaching staff. Stu Jackson, 70.
Basketball.
Yes. Coach.
By the way, Shane, I feel you would have gotten along with Mike very well. He was a great dude. Like great, but old school.
I remember him.
He was just so unapologetically hilarious.
Isn't he a
if I
big
can use
dude
that.
too? Or am I
Big donkey.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a very tall guy,
Yeah.
but just hilarious. We had this guy that we worked with. He was a ray of sunshine. He was one of my good buddies too, but he was always like going around the clubhouse and he's like, how are you doing today? You doing good and everything, just always in a positive mood. And we were passing by Mike Henneman on the way to clubhouse and he's like, how's it going today, guys? And the guy I was with was like, oh, just living the life. He said, I hate that effing song.
Did he have a nickname?
I don't think so. I'm sure that the coaches probably called each other different.
Henny?
Mike. Yeah, Henny. Henny sounds right. Yeah. Old Henny.
It's an easy one.
Yeah, you two would have gotten along real well if he hates the typical saying. Oh,
That
just
is
living the dream.
That means kill me.
Grind
now.
my gears. Here we go.
That does grind my gears.
Living the dream. That was it. Not just living the life. Yeah,
Living the dream.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's a cry for help.
Oh, it's going.
Also, have we
Well,
done
I'm
this
here.
grinding my gears? I feel that we did bring it up at one point where when somebody asks you how it's going, just say fine.
Yeah.
Just say fine and move on.
I'm
Don't
quite
even hear
sure
your
we've
damn problems.
covered this grinds my
Unless
gears.
it's
Yeah.
a really
has
close
been.
friend. Yeah.
Yeah.
But see, I don't feel it would happen that way. If somebody was really, needed your help, I don't think it'd be a simple, how you doing today? Oh, it could be better.
I think you understand when you ask, depending on how close you are, if you really
Yes.
mean, how are you doing?
Yeah.
As a stranger, ugh.
Right.
Like if you're on a plane, I've had
Hey, how's it going?
my issues of you're sitting on a
Doing
plane
well.
and
How are
somebody
you?
chats
Yeah,
you up
not
in
bad.
the aisle.
Yeah.
Just keep it to yourself, man. Don't you see I got headphones in?
Oh, I'm doing just fine, Clark.
Just glad to be
Just
here.
glad to be here. See, that could be the standard answer. Just quote.
I should.
justification.
I should. You're right.
That's a better way to
Next
do
time
it.
someone asks me a
Oh, I'm just glad to be
asinine
here.
question, I'll reply that way. Yeah, thank you. Good idea.
You're welcome.
Speaking of Mike Henneman, my one and only year working for the Wranglers, they had a former pitcher, of course, pitching coach. His name is Steve Crawford. Apparently he's tight with, and Jamie, I know you're listening, you can corroborate this. I think he's tight with George Brett, like they're boys. Steve Crawford was a pitching coach here then. He was kind of like Mike Henneman probably is and was. Good dude to talk to.
Hey, no Blooms is still listening.
Because he just texted Mike Henneman went to Oklahoma State.
I had a feeling.
Yeah. Born in the State, Not Dead. Doc Blanchard. Not a real doctor. Hint.
Baseball?
No. Jack.
Oh, so okay. And get 90%. Miss a layup.
He's
Bench me.
Well, he's a Heisman Trophy winner.
Okay.
He's a Hall of Famer in college, but all right, fine.
By the way, one other good Henneman story, because this was in the article that I found on that story I had told, that Kirk Gibson had once rehabbed in Toledo while he was there. And then when he got back to Detroit, he had recommended him to Sparky Anderson. And when Mike Henneman got to the big leagues, he was like, came up to him and said, you better not F this up because I'm the one who got you here.
Kirk Gibson said that to him?
Yeah.
No, nice. I imagine he would have followed through on his threat too. Dead Day, John Hot Rod Williams, 10 years ago.
Gosh, if this isn't racing, I don't know.
Oh, man. Former basketball player.
Yeah.
Hot Rod. Former Cavalier. Great. All right, fine. Finished on a 2-person losing streak. All right, there you go. There's your show for today. Talk to you tomorrow. But until then, you might as well stick around because the Pulse is next.
Bye, Shane.
Bye.
Wichita's news sports leader, ESPN Wichita, 92.3 FM, KKGQ, Newton. Wichita's news sports leader, ESPN Wichita, 92.3 FM.
You keep going, but we put everything into these games, every game. So when you lose, you should be upset.
Yeah, I mean, just having 2 more opportunities to go down and tie the football game and not doing it. You got to be able to make that stuff happen, and we haven't done that enough this year.
Wichita's home for Chiefs coverage, ESPN Wichita, 92.3 FM.
Research shows listeners prefer a personalized experience. So to help you remember, Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance. We personalized this ad for Amber, who really misses boy bands from the 90s.
Hey girl, I'm the cute one, here to tell you how Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
I'm the heartthrob. The only thing I love more than you is saving. And I'm the other boy in the band everyone forgot about.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty. Nachos! Yeah, your nachos!
Hey, I'll take some.
Great. And some Frank's Red Hot.
Oh, nah, I'm good.
Oh, you're just gonna eat these dry, plain, boring nachos with no Franks. Seriously? Frank it up. Frank it up. Come on, lady. Frank it up. Frank it up. Frank it up. Yeah! Yeah, this guy finally gets it. Hey, look, we're on the Jumbotron.
It's the perfect blend of flavor and heat. Frank's Red Hot. I put that on everything.
For over 55 years and 2 generations, the Southwestern Remodeling Professionals have been providing homeowners in the Wichita area with a truly unique luxury remodeling experience. From the initial consultation through project design and production, our team provides concierge-style service with a true focus on the best quality products and professional installation. Are you ready to experience something truly different? Give us a call today at 263-1239 or visit southwesternremodeling.com.
Every winning team needs a strong defense, and so do you. Don't let the flu sideline you this season. Get your quick, easy flu shot at DAM Pharmacies. No appointment needed. With 6 convenient locations in and around Wichita, it's never been easier to stay in the game. DAM Pharmacies, protecting fans all season long. Visit them today at dampharmacy.com. The high school game of the week presented by Commerce Bank hits the hardwood on ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM as Andover plays host to McPherson as 2 of the state's most consistent high school basketball programs hit the floor in an early season matchup you will not want to miss. Catch coverage of the high school game of the week presented by Commerce Bank beginning at 7 o'clock only on Wichita's sports leader, ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Nick DeLuca. Final month of the NFL season. The Steelers making a push for the playoffs, but monitoring the status of star edge rusher T.J. Watt. Watt is in a local hospital for further lung evaluation after experiencing discomfort at the practice facility yesterday, and his status for Monday night's game against the Dolphins is up in the air. The injury occurred during treatment at the team facility yesterday. He had 6 tackles, including 1 tackle for loss and a QB hit in the win against the Ravens on Sunday, where he played 88% of the defensive snaps. The Steelers lead the AFC North by a game at 7-6. Elsewhere, the Ravens reached a 3-year extension with defensive tackle Travis Jones to avoid a grievance about his free agent eligibility. Deal is worth $40.5 million, keeping him in Baltimore through 2028. In baseball, the Braves bolstering their bullpen. Atlanta agreeing to a 3-year, $45 million contract with former Padres closer Robert Suarez. Led the NL with 40 saves and 45 chances last season.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Friday, I'll tell you the one team that has the most pressure on them this weekend if they want to make the playoffs. It's on Sportsmanlike, weekday mornings at 6, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
You're listening to The Pulse with Pat Strathman on ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM.
Small town, big dreams, and a young boy the age of 15. Had a premonition his city would get seen. Now I'm winning, get Sheen in the city of the home.
What's up, Wichita? Happy Thursday to everyone. Inching closer and closer to that weekend. Just one day away. Maybe to some, you don't get that full-on weekend, but hey, we're almost there, people. Almost to the end of the week. And while we do have a lot of things to preview for this weekend, we're going to save that for tomorrow. But boy, were there plenty of things that happened in college football that we got to talk about here today. Welcome into the Pulse on Wichita's sports leader, ESPN Wichita, 92.3 FM. Thanks so much for locking us in on your radio preset. We have plenty of other options if you want to check us out in those areas. Here are all of the options. Streaming-wise, if you have a smart speaker, tell it to tune into ESPN Wichita, 92.3 FM, or KKGQ. If the first one doesn't work, I can promise you KKGQ very much will. I'm 100% when saying that to the smart speaker. It is the holiday season, so, you might get some smart speakers here in the next couple of weeks. And when you do, those things are so handy. They can set reminders, they can set timers, but they can also listen to ESPN Wichita. It's pretty cool. Tell it to tune into ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM. You don't have to purchase a smart speaker to listen to us online. You wouldn't be able to access anything on there anyways. But you can pull us up on ESPNWichita.com. Listen live button, top right corner. It's in yellow and black. Can't miss it. And on that same media player that will pull up as a separate tab, you can also check out podcasts on the very same one, which I think is very, very good. If you download the ESPN Wichita app, that has everything you need. It's all in one location. All sorts of goodies on there. Listen to programming live, podcast on there. You can check out other shows outside of this or the Shane Dennis Show or New Day with SSJ for that matter. Red Friday tends to be on there. Our high school athletes of the week tend to be on there. So check out all the lovely stuff on the ESPN Wichita app. If you forget the text line number, hotline number, all right there at your fingertips on the ESPN Wichita app. If you want to watch from your computer or your phone, you can do that on YouTube, X, Facebook, whatever your preference. We are also video streaming on those platforms. And a lot of you have checked us out on the platform. So thank you for doing that. See all the lovely holiday decorations, if you will, because 'tis the season. So if you want to be in that festive mood, check out the YouTube channel, X, or Facebook. I'm Pat Strathman. Jack Johnson is producing today. We'll give you another chance to win Kansas lottery tickets today. The number to have handy is 316-669-4996. You never know if it happens in hour 1 or if it happens in hour 2, just like you never really know when the sounder goes off for the Kansas City Chiefs Bud Light neon sign. That's why you got to stay locked in the ESPN Wichita. We give you all sorts of opportunities to win cool things. And if you want to win $30 in Kansas lottery tickets, the hotline is your meal ticket. Or if you just want to call and voice your opinion on the craziness of college football, that's fine too. Be more than happy to have you chime in on the phone line. Text line, though, I think that's where primarily everyone goes. They primarily go in that direction because, well, you're probably at work listening, probably don't have the ability to pick up the phone and dial. So you prefer the text, and that's okay. We love when people text in. So be a part of the group, 316-247-0923. That's 316-247-0923. We'll give you a chance to win free barbecue to Tinker Barbecue later on this hour. Our burnt into the hour trivia question, funny enough, Shane just went to Tinker Barbecue. I think he knew it was Pizza Thursday, so I think he went over that way to get his hands on some delicious pizza. And they have some other good stuff as well. They had a new special yesterday, Italian beef, which is really cool. So we'll tell you more about Tinker at the end of hour number 1. But if you want to win $20 at Tinker, be ready to text 316-247-0923. Be a part of the social media crew here for the ESPN Wichita family. Over 1,900 followers on Instagram. X has been great. Our Facebook, we are, 25 individuals away from reaching 10,000? We need 25 individuals before we reach the end of the year. That was our goal. We were at 1,500 followers in July, and now we are nearing 10K. Thank you so much for blowing up ESPN Wichita. Can't thank you enough for that. And if you haven't followed us yet on any of our platforms, make sure to check us out on Facebook, X, Instagram, and YouTube. We have all sorts of content going out on all those different pages. The lineup for today. Typically, we have a guest around 2:25, but we're going to shove it about 5 minutes back because this guy tends to go on quarters instead of in 20-minute chunks. But it is Chiefs and Chargers coming up this weekend. The LA Chargers had an impressive win over the Philadelphia Eagles. A former Charger is set to join us. Sean Merriman is going to be back on the program. And boy, are we excited to have Sean be back on the show. He also has some exciting news involving ESPN. So we will talk about the NFL. Are the Chiefs done? We'll get to all that with Sean coming up at 2:30. At 2:45, another Royals target to bring up. I'm sure Shane and Jack have already sort of discussed it, but if they haven't yet, I'll give you a reminder. Royals looking for outfielders, and another name pops up. And Jack actually had a poll that was out there. I think you can still vote on his poll on X. So we'll get to all that coming up in just a little bit. Second hour, Running the Spread, brought to you by El Bandito Yankee Tequila. We will pick every game against the spread in the National Football League. We will save a few for our Fab 5 with Fat Jack at FatJackSports.com coming up tomorrow. But it is going to be a little bit more intriguing because college basketball, you tend to not get any lines that far in advance. We will pick the Chiefs and Chargers. Of course, we'll have the Cowboys, but are we going to load up on all NFL games? That might be our strategy as of right now. So we might call an audible tomorrow, but we will save some games for Fat Jack at FatJackSports.com coming up tomorrow on the show. So we'll do our best to pick every game in the NFL today. Jack, I think, had another stellar week, and we'll tell you more about that here in just a little bit. After that, Brian Haney, voice of the Kansas Jayhawks, 3:25, have him confirmed. Kansas basketball. How much is he enjoying the latest performances here from Kansas? We talked to him about UConn, obviously. Now we'll get his takeaways from the Missouri game, what to make of Darren Peterson and where things stand there. We'll get to all that with Brian coming up at 3:25. And then we will have a Top 3 Thursday at the very end of the show. And we'll see just how good Jack is when it comes to that. There you go. That's our lineup for today. It is December 11, 2025. Thanks so much for being a part of the show here today. So, college football. What happened in college football these last 24 hours, huh? Anyone know? Anyone have any idea what took place these last couple of hours? The news broke from up in Ann Arbor, Michigan yesterday, and it just spiraled from there. But I do want to start local as we can bounce from one topic to the next. We spent some time yesterday discussing Colin Klein and his contract. We also spent some time looking at some of the hires that Colin Klein has made. Yesterday, when we were going through the list of individuals that have reportedly been hired by Coach Klein, some of the names that were omitted, Joe Klannerman, defensive coordinator for Kansas State, and Matt Wells, offensive coordinator for the K-State Wildcats. Well, Coach Klein is not going to retain either of them. And I have a feeling, K-State fans who listen to the show, are you rejoicing now? Let me know. 316-247-0923. After spending the last 7 years at Kansas State, defensive coordinator Joe Klannerman, he's actually on the move, and he's going to stay in the same conference. He'll stay in the Big 12. He's been hired by Baylor to hold the same position after the Bears defensive coordinator Matt Powledge left the program to take the same position at North Texas. Coach Klannerman, part of Coach Kleinman's original staff at K-State, spent 2019 as the safeties coach. Scotty Hazelton then departed Kansas State to take the defensive coordinator position at Michigan State. Following that departure, he was promoted to DC along with safeties coach, and he has spent the last 6 seasons as the Wildcats defensive coordinator. This season under Klannerman, K-State was 6th in total points allowed in the Big 12. His defense allowed 302 total points, an average of 27 points per game. The most impressive turnaround, though, was in the turnover category. The Wildcats had one of the best teams in the nation in terms of forcing turnovers. Kansas State forced 26 total turnovers, 13 picks, ranked 5th in the Big 12. And you have the 13 fumbles recovered by Kansas State, which was number 2 in the Big 12. K-State ranked number 1 in Big 12 in turnovers forced over the last 4 seasons. His defense was also good at getting to the passer this season with 28 sacks, ranking number 6 in the Big 12. So Joe Klanderman off to greener pastures and going to a team that wears green there with the Baylor Bears. Dave Aranda, now you have all the shuffling that take place. Now you have Dave Aranda as the guy who's been in the league the longest as the head coach, which I didn't think was going to be possible. Thought that Dave Aranda, I thought that maybe this year, maybe the Baylor could be a dark horse to win the Big 12. Obviously, they didn't. I didn't know if that would be disappointing to some, so therefore Dave Aranda might get fired, but that was not the case for Dave Aranda as he ends up bringing in Joe Klanderman now, who is going to head that defense, which that's the biggest concern for Baylor in my eyes. You would think that Dave Aranda, being a defensive-minded coach, you'd think that that would be a bigger area for success for the Baylor Bears, but that hasn't been the case the last couple of years. So we'll see if Coach Klanderman can do well in that department. Just got a message from Tristan. I'm glad that Joe Klanderman's moving elsewhere, getting rid of the 3-3-5 defense. K-State fans, let me hear your reaction on that. 316-247-0923. I don't think Joe Klanderman was the problem, though, in the eyes of a lot of individuals. Maybe I'm wrong. Tristan obviously was not a fan of the defense that K-State ran this past year. Offensively, that is where a lot of the disagreements lie, with Matt Wells being the offensive coordinator. Matt Wells got a lot of heat. Ended up being a head football coach at Texas Tech. Winds up at Kansas State. Coach Chris Kleiman bringing on a former head coach. You would like to think that that's great. Connor Riley, Matt Wells, both combining there for a moment. Connor Riley ends up going to the NFL. So here's Matt Wells now being the guy. And for sure, an offense that was up and down. Some questionable decisions for Matt Wells in terms of what they decided to do in certain situations. I think it was Chance who was saying, oh, man, what was your favorite 3rd and 8 play for Matt Wells and Kansas State? Was it a handoff? Was it this? I chuckled. Or throwing the football not even at the sticks, maybe just throwing it underneath for a gain of 2 or a gain of 3. I think there are a lot of K-State fans who are very frustrated with the offensive coordinator position. Everyone wanted to see a change with Matt Wells. One texter, Trace, who's a diehard K-State fan. Well, Trace, you get your wish. You don't have to worry about Matt Wells running the show. Now it will be Coach Klein and potentially an offensive coordinator, and I'm curious to see who he's going to hire. But Matt Wells is not going to retain that position. Coach Klein also cleaning house elsewhere. Running backs coach Brian Anderson won't be retained. Wide receivers coach Matthew Middleton won't be back. Cornerbacks coach Van Malone won't be back. Defensive tackles coach Mike Tuiasosopo, he won't be back. And tight ends coach Luke Wells won't return. And for those that listen to Red Friday, I'm sure you've heard Chance lob his concerns with that last one there at the very end with Luke Wells. Thinking that the tight ends group, that was the strength for Kansas State. I think there was a lot of meat left on the bone in the eyes of Chance, in the eyes of a lot of K-State fans. If you want to just take a look at Garrett Oakley, the top dog, he ends up leading the charge in receiving touchdowns with 6. He had 389 yards in receiving as well. But it felt like it took a while before that was really unlocked in the season, no? It felt like it took a while. Because the entire time at the beginning of the year, which is when all the things happen against Kansas State, you never really saw a tight ends group that was viewed as the strength really show up as being the ones that really delivered on a regular basis. And I'm sure there are a variety of reasons for that. But I know that some take a look at Luke Wells and
put the blame there on the tight ends coach and the tight ends not developing as much as you would like. And I think I saw Braden Lofton is in the transfer portal, so I don't know if Kansas State's going to retain him or not. But I know Will Ancio, one guy who's from Capon. You also have Lincoln Cure, who's now a part of that group as well. Seems like Cure very much likes Colin Klein. I think Avery Johnson shared a post about it. So I think there's definitely some players on this roster who you want to retain. I think those guys are happy with Coach Klein coming into the fold. But only time will tell. It's still early. There is still a window for these individuals, these players, to take a breath and then figure out what the next move is going to be. But you will start to see more and more individuals enter the transfer portal. I think we saw Quay Moss and Braden Lofton. I think those are only two for Kansas State. I could be wrong. I'm not following it too closely because it is December and we have a little ways to go. College football playoffs going to be taking place, so I'm not really focusing so much on that. But I do think that you have to keep a close eye on who's really going to return there for the K-State Wildcats. The biggest piece in the eyes of many would be Avery Johnson, but Lincoln Cure is definitely one that a lot of people like. And with a new tight ends coach, maybe there is some positivity on the horizon for this Kansas State football team. So Wildcat fans, give me your take on Matt Wells not being retained and Joe Klanderman going off to the Baylor Bears. Back to Tristan. Coach Klein needs someone to run his offense. There's a reason why Kansas State was better when he was here and Texas A&M was better this year. And that's going to be the intriguing part. How does Coach Klein really handle being a first-time head coach? Because it does change. Just like with anything in any position in the world of just jobs, you go from being this individual who's kind of the grunt worker, working your way up, you get promoted, and then you become the manager, and all of a sudden it's, oh yeah, all these problems that I once was maybe complaining about, now those problems become mine to fix, and I have to fix them for others. I'll be curious to see how Coach Klein handles that situation. But I'm with you, Tristan. I think Coach Klein, I think that's why he's probably bringing his offensive coaches that were around him, guys that he's really close with. I think that's why he's bringing those guys with him to Kansas State, having the full trust in those guys to run the offense and know things. And Coach Klein will probably have a say in some things. Head coaches almost always get the chance to overrule anyone whenever they please. So if Coach Klein doesn't necessarily like a certain look or a certain formation against a certain defense, then yeah, he has the ability to overturn some things and really work in his flair, his style. But we've already heard him say that he wants to get back to playing Kansas State football. Just how close are we going to get to the old days of Kansas State football? We'll see. We'll definitely see. 316-247-0923 from Coach of the Mud Dogs in the Bourbon Bowl to Kansas State. Go Coach Klein. That was funny. Thank you, Texter. 316-247-0923. I told you about the transfer portal. We'll keep a close eye on it. As of right now, there's really nothing too crazy coming out of Manhattan. There is something coming out of Kansas, though, and that is Lyric Rawls. He's intending to transfer. He started every game for Kansas during this past year, played the second most snaps of any KU player on defense, second on the team in tackles. He has 1 season of eligibility remaining. He's actually the 5th scholarship player to announce his intention to transfer. He did start his career at Oklahoma State. He ended up winning the starting spot at safety, was a consistent presence in the secondary, played 77% on KU snaps on defense, notched 73 tackles. So Lyric Rawls, he was a big hitter, and now he's entering the transfer portal, and we will see what his next step is going to be. And I'm curious, too, here. Something else to keep a close eye on is what's happening in Lawrence. Is anything going to happen for that matter? We've seen the news in regards to Kansas State. Do you see any coaching staff changes at all there for Kansas? Now, I don't know. I haven't heard anything. I haven't heard any whispers. But there is Andy Colton-Nicky, whose name is back out there because of, well, we saw what happened there at Penn State. Still don't know what's going to happen there with Andy Koltnicki. Will he even consider going back to Kansas? I don't know. Would Kansas even make the phone call? I don't know. DK McDonald, does he retain his position as a defensive coordinator? We all know Lance Leipold is going to be back unless he drops a bomb late in the season saying he's going elsewhere or going to retire. Don't think that's going to happen at this stage. But I do wonder if any major changes happen there in Lawrence with some of the coaching. If you start to see some position swaps, some guys going from one position to another, or some guys just getting out there altogether. I guess only time will tell as we kind of see the trickle-down effect. You see the head coaching positions, those get filled up first, and then you start to see other guys start to hire at different coordinator positions. We'll see if anything happens there with Kansas, but that's the big news from earlier today. Lyric Rawls, one of the hardest hitters on the defensive side of the ball for Kansas, he has announced his intention to enter the transfer portal. And last but not least, this Sherrone Moore thing. My goodness. Former Michigan football coach Sherrone Moore, who remains in custody as a suspect in an alleged assault, is expected to appear in court for arraignment on Friday. The prosecutor's office told ESPN that it is not expecting a decision today on whether to file criminal charges against Moore. Authorities have yet to release details about his arrest, other than to say that he remains under investigation. He was incarcerated at the jail on Wednesday, just hours after he was fired as the Wolverines football coach for having what the school said was an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. According to the prosecutor's office spokesperson, the matter involving Mr. Moore remains under active investigation by law enforcement, and as a result, we do not expect charging decisions or an arraignment today. Mr. Moore remains in custody at the jail. Police responded at 4:10 p.m. for the purposes of investigating an alleged assault. A suspect in this case was taken into custody. The incident does not appear to be random in nature, and there appears to be no ongoing threat to the community. Michigan fired Moore on Wednesday following an investigation into his conduct with a staff member. And Michigan's statement was head football coach Sherrone Moore has been terminated with cause effective immediately following a university investigation. Credible evidence was found that Coach Moore engaged in an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. The university initially investigated Moore this fall after receiving a tip about the situation, but did not find credible evidence of wrongdoing. That was a source told to ESPN. More information came forward Wednesday that the source said was overwhelming and led to Moore's immediate dismissal. The 39-year-old spent 2 seasons as Michigan's coach after serving as a team's offensive coordinator. Woof. Boy, wasn't that crazy yesterday, seeing all of that unfold. Him being fired because of an inappropriate relationship with a staffer. I'm sure you all have seen the pictures. Of course, we sit and wait for more official details. And how official will we get in terms of news? Will we see any of that? Who the heck knows on that front? But you've seen everything spiral out there on social media. But of course, you have to be careful because of AI and so on and so forth, what's real and what's not. But man, to have that happen, woof. Big job open now with Michigan having a head coaching job available. But my goodness gracious. An inappropriate relationship with a staff member. That is less than stellar. That's not great. Not great at all. And it's a guy who has a family. And now it gets more fuel to the fire after what we saw. After the fact, going over to a certain house and being investigated for an alleged assault. And now we wait and see more details. But what a story out of Ann Arbor yesterday. And for some, it hits close to home because of where Coach Moore is from. Definitely ties in this area. But my goodness gracious. This ends up happening, and now you lose your job. And who knows what happens. I'm sure family, there's devastation there as well. So, mercy. That was big news that broke at the very end of the show yesterday. All right, we're off and running. A lot of stuff there in college football. We'll continue to keep you posted on all those different things as things progress, both for Coach Klein, more transfer portal news for Kansas, any changes over there. And, of course, we will keep you updated on Sharon Moore as well. Coming up next, though, we got to switch gears and talk about the NFL. Chiefs and Chargers this weekend. A guy who played against the Chiefs joins us next. It's Sean Merriman, the former linebacker for the Chargers. We'll talk to him next on the Pulse.
You're tuned into the
Wichita
Pulse
Sports Commission.
on
Thank you.
ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM.
What's going on, Wichita? Man, definitely a lot of news in college football, to say the least. The end of the year, hard to believe that it's here, that we only have a handful of days left in the year 2025. But coming up in 2026, the Wichita Sports Commission has something cool that's going to be taking place. The top high school basketball talent will be in Wichita coming up in January as Sunrise Christian Academy hosts the 4th annual Air Capital Hoop Fest, January 23rd through the 25th at Fugate Gymnasium on the campus of Newman University. Nationally ranked teams are in action. You have Sunrise Christian Academy, a local favorite. You have Montverde out of Florida, Veritas Academy from California, and Dream City from Arizona. The event is made possible because of the effort from the Wichita Sports Commission, also Sunrise Christian Academy, and Visit Wichita. You need to make plans now to watch some of the best high school basketball players in the country. It's the 4th annual Air Capital Hoop Fest coming up January 23rd through the 25th at Fugate Gymnasium.
Why choose AR Roofing? For over 30 years, they've been serving Wichita families with roofs built to last. While other companies come and go, AR Roofing is here to stay. Right off Kellogg and West Street. They're not just building stronger roofs. They're protecting safer homes and giving you peace of mind. AR Roofing. On your side today, tomorrow, and for decades to come. Check them out online at arroofing.com. AR Roofing. Stronger roofs, safer homes. Always here in Wichita.
Hi, this is Blake Davis with Davis Liquor Outlet. And this is Brian Davis with a great special on Modelo Oro 24-pack.
All right, I got Sean. You're up in a minute.
All right, thank you.
Actually, more like 35 seconds.
That's okay. I'll be ready.
Davis Liquor Outlet. Each store independently.
It ended up being a 15-second commercial instead of 30.
The ESPN Wichita app is available now for both
me.
Android and Apple. Go to your app store and download
Better than
today.
any of my reads.
All you have to do is search ESPN Wichita and take the station with you wherever you go. While you're there, find podcasts of your
And you'll
favorite
have Kansas
shows.
Pace after.
Sign up for our
Yes, sir.
app-only contest.
Yep, I'll be ready for that
Send a
one.
text into the show and much more. The ESPN Wichita app, your source for sports in Wichita. ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM.
Well, the Kansas City Chiefs, they're not quite done yet, but the chances of making it to the postseason looking very, very slim as of right now. Meanwhile, for the LA Chargers, they're in position to make the postseason, and a guy who played for the Chargers is back on the show. It's our good old friend, former linebacker Sean Merriman, who joins us on the show. Sean, glad to have you back on the show. It's perfect timing with the Chiefs linking up with the Chargers. But first, can we talk about the exciting news? Lights Out Extreme Fighting and ESPN multi-year media rights agreement? Come on now, dog. Let's go.
Yeah, man, been grinding away. Yeah, we just went live with ESPN Latin America. I think last time we talked a little bit, I had a really good feeling that we, at some point, was going to get a chance to go more global. I mean, the growth we've had for Lights Out Extreme Fighting over this past year has been kind of crazy. And now, UFC going over to Paramount and, us moving into the ESPN family, at least Latin America for now. So, Yeah, man, we're grinding away, and we just had one of our biggest fights last Saturday in California.
I was just going to ask you about that, how everything went this past weekend, because I was following along because you tweet so much. I'm always locked into what you have to say. So how exciting was it this past weekend, and how much growth have we seen with Lights Out Extreme Fighting just in a short span of time here this past year?
It's been insane, man. In fact, the fighters were so happy because we didn't announce that we were going to ESPN Latin America, and then a lot of the fighters we had on that card was Latin, and so those guys were swinging for the fences. So they put on a big show. They were all excited about now being global. And the truth is, man, I think we're the next up. We have the next up and coming superstars of the sport. And the fans are really telling us exactly what they feel about us with the viewership and us constantly selling out the venue there in California. It's been great, man. But I just feel like we haven't really even got started on what we could do, and we're going to keep growing.
That's exciting. Yeah, this guy says we're going global, and he's like, yeah, we're just getting started. Yeah, going global, just getting started. That's the appetizer before the main meal, which is incredible. All right, Sean, let's talk about the NFL. Of course, the Kansas City Chiefs, their playoff chances are on life support. Everyone's wondering, is the dynasty officially over in Kansas City? What's your main takeaway with the Kansas City Chiefs this year?
You know what's funny? Early on during the year, the first game against the Chargers when the Chiefs lost, everybody's wanted to jump off the bandwagon right then and there, saying, hey, this is not dominant. They're not a good team anymore. And I'm like, listen, they're still the Kansas City Chiefs. You got Patrick Mahomes still throwing the ball. Travis Kelce, he had some costly drops the last game and haven't been looking like himself lately. He's going to come back. I mean, this is not a team that stays down. They don't have that the leader as a Patrick Mahomes. They don't have a coaching staff and Andy Reid that's going to sit down, lay down, and say, you know what, maybe this is not our year. So I fully expect for them to come out and give the Chargers a run for their money this game. And if Patrick Mahomes never goes to another playoff game again the rest of his career, which he will, but if he doesn't, he'll still go down as one of the best quarterbacks ever play the game, period. And I just think that people are so used to seeing them so dominant and winning games, leading the AFC West, that whenever they're not, everybody's jumping off of the bandwagon. I just think that's unfair.
Well, does it say a lot about just the rest of the NFL, especially on the AFC side of things? You have the Broncos right now being the top dog in the AFC. Drake May and the Patriots are currently the number 2 seed. You don't have the Bengals a part of the playoff picture. You don't have the Ravens a part of the playoff picture. Bengals with Joe Burrow, the Ravens with Lamar Jackson. You have Kansas City with Patrick Mahomes. What does that say about the rest of the NFL? Is the rest of the NFL finally caught up to Kansas City in that regard?
Well, I've experienced this where it's not that the Chiefs are not a good team. They still are a good team, but everybody else gets better, right? Everybody else gets better because when you're having years and when you're not playing so well, you get more draft picks. You get a new coaching staff, new people. Mike Vrabel came in and turned that thing around over there in New England. Sean Payton now has gotten those guys clicking. And I want to say this. I know they're both leading the division, but I don't feel that there's one dominant team this year. And I'm talking about AFC and NFC. I don't think there's a dominant team where you say, you know what, I don't see anybody beating them. I don't feel that way this year. I think that anybody's beatable for the first time in a long time. Anybody's beatable. But I was at that game with the Chargers in Denver. Those guys are really good, especially up front on the defense side, on the front defensive line. They like to get after it, and they're following their leader, Sean Payton. Same thing with the Patriots.
How wild is it to see the Chargers be in this position, considering all of the injuries that they've had, especially up front on the offensive line? Justin Herbert was running for his life in the game against the Eagles, and they find a way to win. So how have the Chargers been able to get to this point?
It's truly remarkable because if you look at just the events that occurred before the season, Rashawn Slater goes down. You're arguably the best tackle in football, goes down with that knee injury. He's done. Joe Alt gets moved to the left side. He goes down for the year. Najee Harris, who's never had a long-term injury before in his career, I believe, he goes down for the season. Then Amarion, the rookie, goes down. Then Khalil Mack. I'm looking around like this is insane. So this is a testament for one, Justin Herbert just being tough and grinding it out. But this coaching staff, man, I don't think there's another coaching staff that would ever put these guys in the position they're in right now in the NFL.
I think that's a unique point there with Coach Harbaugh leading the charge. Now, going into this game against the Kansas City Chiefs, you brought up how the Chiefs are going to be ready to rock and roll. They're going to bring it. They're truly going to have their backs against the wall. If they weren't before, now they very much are, as they very much have to go out there, win every single game, and get some help along the way. What's the number one thing that concerns you? I know you're a Chargers guy, but what's the X factor in this football game coming up this weekend?
For one, the Chargers are going to see the Chiefs' best shot of all season. They're going to come out fighting, and they're going to be diving for every inch. They're going to try to take advantage of every mistake the Chargers made. They're going to get their best effort they have all season because, as you said, this is a do-or-die situation for them, and this is for them to even have an opportunity. On the flip side, the Chargers now they got to fix that offensive line. They have to. Justin Herbert can't get sacked 6 or 7 times. He's the most pressured and hit quarterback in the National Football League. And it's fine if he gets past the Eagles that way, but you won't hold up for the rest of the season and go into the playoffs if they don't find a way to fix it up front.
Well, I'm sure you saw the second half with the Chiefs and the Texans, and the Chiefs in the second half on defense, they came out with their heads on fire. Chris Jones had a masterful performance. Steve Spagnuolo was able to dial up some blitzes that finally got to C.J. Stroud. At the end, it still was a loss for Kansas City, but I'm sure you probably saw the second half performance and thought, dang, that was one of the more impressive defensive performances that you've probably seen here in the NFL this year.
That's why, Spagnuolo is so great as a D coordinator. They made those halftime adjustments. He's seen something, and only the great coaches are able to do that. Some of them can do it in game. Some of them go back during halftime. But when you start recognizing some of the misses that you've done and how to get back there, because they look like a total different team on defense that second half. I'm expecting Spagnuolo to come out and dial it up early against the Chargers, seeing what that offensive line. I mean, he's got to be licking his chops a little bit, seeing his offensive line and Chris Jones, all these guys up front. And the Chargers got to do something to fight back. They got to go out and say, you know what, we missed this play, we missed that play, and make these adjustments and know that the Chiefs going to attack some of the weak points of that offensive line and be prepared.
Yeah, and on the flip side, Chargers are probably thinking the same thing, aren't they, with the offensive line for Kansas City? Like, hey, okay, look, they got three starters that are banged up. I'm sure they're probably thinking the same thing too in some ways.
No doubt about that. And I think that some of the things happen uncharacteristic. You don't see Travis Kelce dropping those balls. That's just even at this late stage of his career. That's one thing he's not known for. So you got to expect that he's going to make those catches. You got to expect some of those guys to get open, try to get open down the field, get behind that secondary. And the Chargers secondary has been playing great, and they won a couple of games for them alone this year in the fourth quarter. So it's going to be a chess game, but I think that it's going to be Spagnuolo against that offensive line of the Chargers. That's the matchup that I'm really focusing on.
All right, well, you mentioned how you don't think there's a true dominant team in the NFL. I'll start with the AFC. Told you about the Broncos, the Patriots. Yes, you have the Steelers that are still right there in the thick of it. The Jags are right there. The Texans are in. You have the Bills in as of right now. As you take a look on the AFC side, I'm sure it's hard to pick one team, but as of right now, who do you like the most going into the postseason?
I like it's a toss up between the Broncos and the Patriots.
Fair.
And because I like, so when you're going into the playoffs, when you're trending up, right? When you're trending up going into the playoffs, that's the teams that get into the playoffs that trending up, not the ones that's kind of fighting their way in and barely step in and they can get put out at any time. The ones that's trending up and got health. That's why it's a toss up, I think, between Denver and the Patriots.
I think that's fair. I think that's kind of where I would go too, although some would say, look at the Buffalo Bills. There's still Josh Allen. Houston's definitely sneaky. If C.J. Stroud continues to rely on his defense, that has been kind of a key for Houston. Just C.J. Stroud realizing, I don't have to do everything. Let my defense do the talking for me. So I think that could be a unique piece to watch there on the AFC. For the NFC, it's hard not to love what the Rams have been doing. It's been a good year for LA football. Bring up the Rams and the Chargers. Not bad there in LA. But you have the Rams in the preseason, I think we were all wondering what they would be like. Matthew Stafford's banged up. Is he really healthy? Is he going to retire? Are the Rams really all that great? Turns out, yes, Matthew Stafford right now, probably the leader in the clubhouse when it comes to the MVP conversation. Of course, we can take a look at the other teams in the NFC, but I really like what the Rams have. Who do you like the most on the NFC side right now?
I like the Rams a lot, and then they got all their horses. Their main, we just talked about the key players for the Chargers going down. They got most of their horses. Devontae Adams has been ridiculous as well, and Matthew Stafford, man. I mean, I saw the stat the other day, but he's just getting over 500 for the first time in his career. This guy has been beat up when he was in Detroit. I don't think people remember or realize how much he was hit, how the injuries he played through. So for him to be playing at this level now is truly remarkable. I mean, it's we haven't seen it, and you're right. I mean, if the season starts today, he should win MVP.
All right, I got to ask, with Phillip Rivers being back in the game, starting for Indianapolis at age 44, come on, man, you got the itch? You got the itch to return? Surely you can, right?
Look, I got about 15 or 20 snaps to one of those offensive linemen cut blocked me, and I'm going straight to the hospital. So, I spent some time with Phil doing Antonio Gates' Hall of Fame induction, and you can sense it. He was still very animated, still passionate. Me, him, and Drew Brees, we spent about almost an hour together just talking football, and you could just tell it never left the system. And it's more of the right fit, man. There's guys on the street right now that's not on a team, sitting on the couch somewhere. That's more athletic, probably stronger arm than Phillip, and got other physical attributes. But you got Phillip who's walking in, understands the playbook, knows the coaching staff, still has that itch to get on the field, and still has that mind, man. Between his competitive edge and his mindset and how he prepares and approaches the game is going to get him to go out there and be successful on the field, at least this next couple games.
Grandpa Phil. I can't wait. It's truly something. I never thought I'd see the day, but kudos to him for being ready for the moment. And let's be real, Sean. I mean, I got 2 kids, and he's got more than 2, and I have a feeling he's probably like, you know what? I could probably go to work this weekend and just escape for a little bit. So, anywho, it's wild, man. Absolutely wild. Well, when's the next show for Lights Out Extreme Fighting? I want to make sure that we get that plugged as well.
Oh, yeah, February 7th, night before the Super Bowl. It will be back in California, but hopefully some more announcements, man. We want to make this thing as global as possible, and we're in talks right now to more distribution. But February 7th, Lights Out Extreme Fighting 30, night before the Super Bowl. It's going to be a big one.
I can't wait, man. That sounds lovely. Sean, you're the best. Really appreciate your time. Enjoy Chiefs-Chargers week. Happy holidays, and we'll talk to you again soon.
You got it, guys. Happy holidays.
I appreciate you. That is Sean Merriman. Boy, good to have him on the show. Former All-Pro linebacker in the National Football League for the Chargers. Big news with Lights Out Extreme Fighting now going to the ESPN ranks, going global, as he says. That's cool stuff. And I've been watching this from the get-go. So good to see Sean Merriman getting the opportunity to build this thing up. It's been impressive. Really has been. Follow all of his stuff every single week, staying locked in. And Sean, just overall, just a good dude as well. And I know he's got some other stuff up his sleeves. I know that for darn sure, because I've already talked to some individuals about what's coming up. And I think there's some cool stuff for Sean. So appreciate him hopping on the program here today. Be curious to see what happens on Sunday. Offensive lines, both of them, are very much going to be a key focal point there in the game coming up on Sunday. Let's take a break. When we return, another target for the Kansas City Royals and the burnt end of the hour trivia question brought to you by Tanker Barbecue. Get ready to text 316-247-0923. That's all coming your way next on The Pulse.
The heartbeat of Wichita sports fans. The Pulse on ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM.
What's up, Wichita? It's the holiday season. You're running around everywhere. You're working. You're trying to get things wrapped up before the end of the year. You are doing shopping for the holiday season. I'm sure you're also juggling the needs of your aging parents. Are you juggling work, family, and the needs of your aging parents? Kansas PACE can provide the help you've been looking for. You'll have peace of mind knowing your parent is receiving expert, compassionate care while living at home. PACE provides all the medical care your parent needs with their doctors, nurses, and specialists and therapists who specialize in older adults. PACE takes care of all the paperwork and arranges all of the appointments. PACE does all of the driving too. You don't have to take off from work. PACE provides in-home care as well. Kansas PACE takes some of the weight off your back that comes with taking care of aging parents. They become your trusted partner in caretaking. Plus, they have an activity center packed with fun activities your parent will actually look forward to visiting. The medical clinics is right there attached to the activity center, so everything is in one place. If you need help taking care of an aging parent, it will be worth your while to check out Kansas PACE. It could just make your life and your parents' life much easier. Learn how they can help your family today at kansaspace.org. That's kansaspace.org.
Are you all ready for live entertainment? Gilly's grand opening concert series kicks off December 15th. And listen close, because there are only 500 tickets for each show. That's right, only 500 to see Colt Ford, Aaron Tippin, Locash, and more in an intimate, high-energy honky-tonk experience you won't get anywhere else. It's live music with room at the bar and room to dance. When those 500 tickets are gone, they're gone. Gilly's Park City. Get your tickets now at playgillies.com, where country music is live.
For over 55 years and 2 generations, the Southwestern Remodeling Professionals have been providing homeowners in the Wichita area with a truly unique luxury remodeling experience. From the initial consultation through project design and production, our team provides concierge-style service with a true focus on the best quality products and professional installation. Are you ready to experience something truly different? Give us a call today at 263-1239 or visit southwesternremodeling.com.
Research shows listeners prefer a personalized experience. So to help you remember, Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance. We personalize this ad for Amber, who really misses boy bands from the 90s.
Hey girl, I'm the cute one, here to tell you how Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
I'm the heartthrob. The only thing I love more than you is saving. And I'm the other boy in the band everyone forgot about.
Just happy to be here. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Hey, it's Sean Tarbell with Davis Moore Chevrolet. Celebrate the Red Tag sales event with huge year-end savings on all makes and models. Check out 2026 Chevy Silverado 1500 Crew Cab Custom 4x4 and save up to $12,000 off MSRP or get 0% financing. Check out the 2026 Chevy Colorado Z71 4x4 with up to $8,000 off MSRP and 3.9% financing for 60 months. Together, let's drive at Davis Moore Chevrolet, located under the big American flag at Kellogg and Tyler, or check us out online at davis-moorechevrolet.com. All offers plus tag, title, tax, and administrative fees expire January 2nd, 2026.
On ESPN Wichita, the best things on NFL Sundays just happen to come in threes. The first pits the emerging Chicago Bears against the Cleveland Browns. They kick off Sunday afternoon at 1. At 3, Jared Goff makes his return to L.A. as the Rams host the Detroit Lions. Then at 7:20, it's Sunday Night Football with the Minnesota Vikings traveling west to face the Dallas Cowboys. It's an NFL threesome this Sunday on ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM.
This might be the only song that gets me to look over at our device here in the studio. It always forces me to double check if my connection is good because it goes from one ear to the other side or just completely goes blank. So it freaks me out a little bit from time to time. And then all of a sudden it just comes back to life and it's normal. But I do enjoy that song. Always a good one to get with the random suggestions that Jack always seems to find every single day here on the program. Running the spread coming up in hour number 2. We will have Kansas Lottery tickets to give away. Voice of the Kansas Jayhawks, Brian Haney, will join in a Top 3 Thursday as well. All that in hour number 2. Before we talk about the boys in blue and the latest target for Kansas City, let me tell you about Tinker Barbecue. And let's give you a chance to win Tanker Barbecue, our burnt end of the hour trivia question brought to you by Tanker Barbecue Company. From fall off the bone ribs to juicy brisket and house-made sides, they are serving food with big flavor and slow smoked to perfection. And boy, are they doing it at a very, very high level. Shane went over there for lunch. He sent me a picture. He told me he was going to do that, so it's okay. They have their Pizza Thursday special, and I've had their pizza. It is delicious. Absolutely amazing. It's brisket pizza. You can't go wrong with that. Yesterday, they had Chicago-style Italian beef sandwiches, which are amazing. They look good. I have a chance to get over there and get some yesterday. They also have some steaming au jus to go with it, brisket burnt ends. They have the meatloaf sandwiches. They have soups. They have a lot of good things. So go check out our friends at Tinker Barbecue at 620 West Maple, open Tuesday through Saturday from 11 until 7. Tinker Barbecue. Refuel your tank at Tinker Barbecue. All right, Jack, before we reveal the latest target for the Kansas City Royals, burnt end of the trivia question. If you want to partake so you can win $20 to Tinker Barbecue, be ready to text 316-247-0923. Take it away, Jack. What's our burnt end of the hour trivia question?
Saturday will be the 15th time that Kansas and NC State have met up for a showdown. Kansas is on a 13-game winning streak, and overall, they are 13-1 against NC State. Can you tell me what year that first loss and was the first meeting between the two teams was? Just tell me the year.
All right, so looking for the year, first meetup between NC State and Kansas. When was that? Text 316-247-0923 so you can win $20 to Tinker Barbecue. What was the year? First year NC State and Kansas squared off. Spoiler alert, it's been a little while. We'll just give you that hint. 316-247-0923. $20 to Tinker Barbecue on the line. Text your guesses to 316-247-0923. $20 to Tinker Barbecue. It's free Q, man. You can't beat that, especially their great food that they have over there. Text your guesses to 316-247-0923. NC State, Kansas, the first matchup in the year that it took place. So just tell me the year when it took place. That's all I need. Hey, so the Royals have another potential person to look at, and that guy would be Teoscar Hernandez. Yeah, heard that correctly. The Athletic reporting that Teoscar Hernandez very well could be a target for the Kansas City Royals. I'm sure one of our diehard listeners who is a Dodgers fan, maybe he's a little concerned when it comes to that. But Teoscar Hernandez, part of the Dodgers team last year and last season, ended up batting .247 with an OBP of .284, slugging at .454 OPS at .738. Had 29 doubles, 25 home runs, had 89 RBI. That is a guy that Kansas City could be targeting. 32 years old is Teoscar Hernandez. Could he be the one that Kansas City ends up going after? They are definitely going for anyone with a set of legs and that can actually hold the baseball bat. That's for sure. But they need a big bat. Teoscar Hernandez doesn't sound all that bad. But according to the poll there for Jack Johnson on X, JohnnyJ_15, he's not the top guy, according to that poll. Go check it out on X. 316-247-0923. First time NC State and Kansas squared off for basketball. Text 316-247-0923 for your chance to win $20 to Tinker Barbecue. Running the spread when we return.
Wichita's news sports leader, ESPN Wichita, 92.3 FM, KKGQ, Newton. Wichita's news sports leader, ESPN Wichita, 92.3 FM.
You keep going, but we put everything into these games, every game. So when you lose, you should be upset.
Yeah, I mean, just having 2 more opportunities to go down and tie the football game and not doing it. You got to be able to make that stuff happen, and we haven't done that enough this year.
Wichita's home for Chiefs coverage. ESPN Wichita, 92.3 FM.
The future will be amazing, and that's all well and good. But what about today? You can feel the rush of a 400-horsepower Nissan Z, or climb to new heights in the all-terrain Nissan Frontier. Light up the road in the all-electric Nissan Ariya that feels like a sci-fi dream come true. The future will be great, but today is made for thrill. All you have to do is get in a Nissan and drive. 2023 Ariya and Z not yet available for purchase. Expected availability is this spring for 2023 Z and this fall for 2023 Ariya.
And we are all tied up in the bottom of the 9th. Bases loaded. Electric in here. Electric. It all comes down to this pitch. You throw the fastball here. But it looks like Brock is walking off the field and is leaving the stadium. What is going on here?
I'm getting word that he left to get a taco. When you need a taco, you need a taco. Introducing the new Cantina Crispy Melt Taco, only from Taco Bell. At participating U.S. locations for a limited time only.
Let's get crackin'. Rockin' Brews Casino is turning up the heat with all-you-can-eat crab legs every Friday. From 3 p.m. to 9 p.m., feast on never-ending delicious crab legs, plus your choice of Caesar or Rockin' House salad, seasoned corn, potatoes, and top it all off with ice cream dessert, all for just $69.95. But hurry, last call for new crab orders is 8:15 p.m. That's every Friday at Rockin' Brews Casino, I-35, exit 231 in Bremen. Rock your Friday nights and get your claws on this feast. Rockin' Brews Casino. Eat, win, rock on. Owned by the Caw Nation.
The high school game of the week presented by Commerce Bank hits the hardwood on ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM as Andover plays host to McPherson as 2 of the state's most consistent high school basketball programs hit the floor in an early season matchup you will not want to miss. Catch coverage of the high school game of the week presented by Commerce Bank beginning at 7 o'clock only on Wichita.
There'll be like 10
Sports
seconds
Leader,
of
ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM.
Wichita's
10
new
seconds of dead air.
sports leader, ESPN
Yeah, just after
Wichita,
this ID, then it'll be Sports Center.
92.3
All right.
FM, KKGQ, Newton.
This is Sports Center.
I'm Nick DeLuca. Week 15 getting going tonight. Thursday night football. The Buccaneers and the Falcons. Tampa trying to keep pace atop the NFC South. Wide receiver Mike Evans expected to make his return from the broken collarbone that he suffered in Week 7. Big boost for the Bucs. Meanwhile, the Steelers on top of the AFC North, monitoring the status of star edge rusher T.J. Watt. He's in a local hospital for further lung evaluation after experiencing discomfort at the facility yesterday. Injury occurred during treatment. The Steelers lead the AFC North by a game. Elsewhere, the Chiefs have their backs against the wall heading into this weekend's game against the Charger. KC needs to win out and get help. ESPN's Rich Eisen thinks they'll have trouble helping themselves.
And the crazy thing is when you read all of that in one fell swoop, the question is which is the toughest to expect? And the crazy thing is when you say it's about the Chiefs, it's the winning out. Yeah.
Eisen on unsportsmanlike in baseball. The Braves are signing former Padres closer Robert Suarez.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Friday, I'll tell you the one team that has the most pressure on them this weekend if they want to make the playoffs. It's unsportsmanlike, weekday mornings at 6, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Time to get after it now here in the NFL. Welcome back. Hour number 2. It's the Pulse on Wichita Sports Leader, ESPN Wichita, 92.3 FM. Thanks for dropping by. Thanks so much for listening on 92.3 FM on the radio dial, streaming on ESPNWichita.com, ESPN Wichita app. You have a smart speaker, that gets the job done as well. And if you want to watch us from Equity Bank Park We have that as well on our YouTube channel, as well as X and Facebook. I'm Pat Strathman. He's Jack Johnson. 316-669-4996. Keep that number handy because we'll give you a chance to win $30 of Kansas lottery tickets here in a little bit. We will also welcome your comments if you like. 316-247-0923. Check us out on Facebook, X, and Instagram. Make sure to follow us on all those different platforms. We have the voice of the Kansas Jayhawks, Brian Haney. He follows this segment, and then we will have a Top 3 Thursday at the very end of the show. This is Running the Spread, though. It's brought to you by El Bandito Yankee Tequila. Always win with the undefeated flavor of El Bandito Yankee, the official tequila of game day. No fake colorings or flavors, and they're verified additive-free Blanco, Reposado, and Añejo. They've won countless platinum and gold medals and are now listed as one of the world's top tequilas. Always win with the undefeated flavor of El Bandito Yankee, the official tequila of game day. I had a feeling I was very bad last week. Turns out that would be the case. Not so great for me. Jack Johnson, though, was good. Jack was 9-5. I went 5-9. I came pretty close to a few things, though. Half points off on a few of them. That went in favor of Jack and not myself, and that might be the difference because Jack now has an 11-game lead as you take a look at the leaderboard. We will save 4 games. Can you believe that? 4 games because we have a triple header on Sunday. We never picked the Chiefs in anything for this program, so we'll save it for tomorrow. Browns and Bears will save. We'll save the Lions and Rams and the Vikings and Cowboys. All those will be saved for our Fab 5 at FatJack at FatJackSports.com. So we kick it out for the Falcons and Bucks. Tampa Bay is favored by 5.5. It's in Florida. Jack Johnson, since you're the leader in the clubhouse, you get to go first. Do the Falcons find a way to up in the Bucks, who were surprised by the Saints a week ago?
As we've said before, these Thursday night games can be a little bit tricky. The line always seems to be pretty close, even if there's an overwhelming favorite in this game, which is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They've been poor, though, over the last couple of weeks. And for Atlanta, you know, they don't have much to play for at this point. Certainly have had quarterback issues all season long. But I'll go on the flip side here. I feel Tampa Bay has just been really banged up. They've not been playing good football. It's Thursday night, so a short week. Don't expect the Falcons to win, but I expect them to cover.
And I know looking last week to the Buccaneers, just how they played, and now I got to start taking some swings here too if I want to truly catch up. But I also want to be careful with how I do it. Do I really have this confidence in the Buccaneers? Because, again, we talk about this in the NFL all the time. Just because one week they play a certain way doesn't mean that's how they play the rest of the way. But the Buccaneers have been in a little bit of a rut. They lost to the Pats. They end up losing to the Bills. They lose to the Rams. They eke one out against the Cardinals, but they lose to the Saints. They've lost 4 of the last 5. Should the Buccaneers bounce back? They should. But since this is Thursday Night Football, 5.5 does seem like a rather large spread for a team that's lost as many games as the Bucs have had in the last couple of weeks. I'm riding with I'm riding with the Falcons as well to at least keep it close because the Buccaneers, they've been on a little bit of a drop right now, and I know they've lost to some teams that are currently in the playoff picture, but I do think looking at the Falcons and Bucs Thursday Night Football doesn't look all that great to me there for Tampa. So give me the Falcons to find a way to cover the 5.5. Bills and Patriots, it's in Foxborough. The Pats are actually a 1.5 underdog going up against the Buffalo Bills. This one is a fun one, and rightfully so, it should be 1.5. But you know what that tells me, though? You get the 3 points in your favor if you're the home team. So theoretically, it would be 4.5 in favor of the Bills if the location was flipped, which I find that to be intriguing considering the Patriots are currently the number 2 seed in the AFC. The Bills continue to tell you that this is a Bills team that you got to look out for. You know, Do I go with the Patriots here? It's Drake May. Do I go with Drake May at home? I'm going to try to maybe think that you're probably going to go with the Patriots. So I'll go with the road team. I'll go with the Buffalo Bills to get a marquee win against the New England Patriots.
I'll go with New England then, just to differ a little bit here. I mean, we've heard before from Fat Jack that home underdogs can be the play more often than not. It's a Patriots team that
and division
a very
too as well, right? In a division as well.
Yeah, so you've got a team that, has been thriving over the last 9 to 10 games. They very much have a great shot at the number 1 seed. And, I feel that Buffalo should be the favored team here. But Buffalo's been a bit inconsistent. It feels like a good spot for them, but this New England team, you can't take them too lightly. I said different things on Shane's show, but for the sake of maybe adding another game to my record, I'll say I'll go with the home underdog here in the Patriots.
Okay. Drake May. What a story. And what a story there with Mike Vrabel taking the lead and doing as well as he has. We do have multiple games that have double-digit spreads. And I mean multiple. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 games with double-digit spreads. And it starts with this. The Jets are in Jacksonville. Jags are a hefty favorite at 13.5 points. That's a lot of points. And that is tied for the second largest spread for this week. So Jack Johnson, Jags, so they cover by 2 touchdowns.
I think they do. The Jets, I believe, will be starting Brady Cook in this game. So you're down to your third string quarterback. You're 3-10. It feels like they could be in a spot that the Vikings were in a couple of weeks ago, or maybe just 2 weeks ago, where they got absolutely smoked by Seattle because they were on their third string quarterback. For the Jets, they've already been poor with their starting quarterback in Justin Fields. I don't see it being very pretty for them and the Sunshine State this weekend. So give me the Jags to win and win big.
I went with the Jets last week, and they let me down in a big way. So with that being said, I'm steering clear of the New York Jets. The Jags, they do cover the 13.5. It's in Jacksonville. Jags still trying to fend off the Houston Texans in the AFC South. So give me the Jacksonville Jags. Texans are in H-Town. Texans, red hot. They won 5 in a row. They face the Cards coming from Arizona. Texans are favored by 9.5. You could say that the Texans are due for a letdown game. I think they have finally figured something out. C.J. Stroud understanding that he doesn't need to be the one to force things down the field. Just maintain the football. Don't do anything stupid. The Texans defense is still pretty damn incredible. I'm going to ride with the Texans. I don't think the Cards are going to score enough to cover the 9.5. So lock in the Houston Texans for me, covering the 9.5.
Yeah, no need to be aggressive here and take the Cardinals to cover that 9.5. The Texans defense is too good, and the Cardinals are on a backup quarterback as well. I feel that Houston's going to be able to overwhelm that Cardinals offense, rushing attack, everything about it, and put serious heat on the quarterback. C.J. Stroud can have a poor game in this one, and I still feel they can cover by double digits. Give me the Texans.
Raiders and Eagles. Eagles are favored by 11.5. I actually just had someone send a text just moments ago. Eagles, easy cover, according to this one individual. Well, I would hope so. It's the Raiders. But you know what team screwed me last week? It was the Raiders. And it gave Jack a game because he went with the Raiders, and the line was 7.5. And the field goal that was kicked made it 7. So I'm bitter when it comes to the Raiders. But the Eagles, they are at home in Philadelphia. Although I think there are a lot of Eagles fans who are less than thrilled as of right now following winning a Vince Lombardi trophy. I will go with the Philadelphia Eagles to cover the 11.5. Can't go with the Raiders. I'm sorry. They have burned me too many times. Although they got you a win last week, Jack, so maybe you're riding with the Raiders, maybe the Kenny Pickett revenge game for the Raiders to maybe send Philadelphia fans into the atmosphere after a loss to the Raiders. It would be something.
Well, the Eagles have been really, really poor offensively over the last 3 games, ever since that win against Detroit, which was a bit controversial when you look back at it due to a questionable PI call, I believe it was, on Detroit. They've lost 3 in a row since then. Blew the 21-0 lead against Dallas, lost to Chicago at home, and then lost to an incredibly banged-up Chargers team. Look, the Raiders are awful. They are absolutely awful. But what gives you the confidence an Eagles team on a 3-game losing streak with the way the offense has looked is going to cover that double-digit point spread? It is the NFL, after all. It's hard to beat anybody by 2 scores. And I feel they beat the Raiders, but I could see another backdoor cover from Vegas. Give me the Vegas to go in and keep it relatively close against Philly.
Oh, there you go. Hey, Raiders did it for you last week. Why not? Don't blame you. Ravens and Bengals. Lamar Jackson officially back at practice. Joe Burrow and the Bengals, they helped you out again, Jack, last week. It was 5.5 when we picked it. I went Bills, you went Bengals, and Joe Burrow kept it close enough. The Ravens are favored by 2.5 in Cincy.
Yeah, it was crazy to see Joe Burrow at the podium yesterday, I believe, almost kind of hinting at he's contemplating retirement.
Yeah.
I mean, for as much as he's been banged up, as poor as the Bengals organization has been since losing to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game, I'm sure it's taken a mental toll on him. And what gives you any confidence the Bengals have a bright future ahead of them? It felt like they had their window, and that window slammed shut, and now his body's just wearing down. He's constantly hurt and looks miserable. But even though he looks miserable, he's playing damn good football. I didn't expect him to be this good coming off the injury, but maybe he was healthier even more than a couple of weeks ago. Therefore, he feels really good right now in his overall ability to play. For the Ravens, Lamar has just been practicing and then not practicing, non-practicing. It's a bad defense that's getting worse as the season goes on. Bengals have a bad defense, but they got a better offense and, surprisingly, a healthier quarterback. I'll go with Cincinnati at home.
Well, darn, I was hoping I would go with the Bengals, but I guess in order to be different, I'm going to go with the Ravens just so I could try to catch a game. But, yeah, hearing that from Joe Burrow, I thought it was intriguing as well. But when you do have guys who have been incredibly banged up, I think you're starting to see more guys also understand, too, maybe I don't want to do this forever. Maybe I can save myself after playing in the league for 7 years. Seems like that's good enough for me. I made enough money, got enough in endorsements. Should be no problem. You could start to see that being a trend moving forward because I think you see more and more of it just across the board in the world of sports. It's definitely an industry that takes a toll on you. So I'm going to go with the Ravens, though, just for the sake of trying to get a game back. So give me Baltimore. Giants and Commanders, it's in New York. The Giants are favored by 2.5. I don't know what you do with this game. I really don't. What do you do with this game? The Commanders, you and I both, I think, ran with the Commanders last week, and then nothing happened there with Washington. The fact that the Giants are favored by 2.5, I don't know which way you go. I really don't. It's really a coin flip. So let me just go ahead and close my eyes and just kind of go back and forth. And whatever, if I go left, if I look to the left, no, I'm not going to do anything. That's stupid. I'm going to stop that. Giants and Commanders. I'm going to go with the Giants. They're at home. I don't like the Commanders. And boy, it's been a disappointing season for Washington, to say the least. They've been banged up, but give me the G-men at home.
Now, someone's got to give. Both these teams have been on long losing streak. The Commanders, though, I feel that after that loss last week, I'm not sure you could have any confidence moving forward in putting any real money down on them. The Giants, on the other hand, yeah, they looked ugly against the Patriots, but so is every bad team this season. Had the overtime thriller against Detroit, played the Packers close, played the Bears close. Whereas New York, they lose in overtime to Denver, I believe it was. It was Miami in overtime, but also got smoked by Detroit, Seattle, and Minnesota. I guess just for the Giants, I guess you can make a case they've played a little better football of late. I'll go with them. Jackson Dart should still be able to put up enough here. I'd rather take the under in this overall game. But the Giants being at home, why not? I'll go with the home team in a battle of two awful football teams.
Awful. Another double-digit spread. This one's 13.5, much like the Jags. Seahawks are hosting the Colts. Phillip 1L Rivers, baby, on the road in Seattle. Can he pull it off? You're up first on this one.
Yeah, I cannot believe that is still real. And if the Colts start him in any game this year, you talk about how the mighty have fallen. 8-2 going into Arrowhead and now really in danger of losing out the rest of the way. You never thought that would be possible with the way they look going into Kansas City. I'm not even sure Jonathan Taylor, has enough juice anymore to do it alone in this game. With those quarterback issues, this Seattle team, who is so vicious defensively, this should be an absolute beatdown. Sorry to say it for our good buddy Chance, but Seahawks are going to roll.
That's why I thought the timing with Sean was so perfect. It's Chiefs in charge this week for starters. And then you throw on the fact that Phillip Rivers is back in the NFL at age 44. Sean's only 41, so that logic, you can get back in there. At some point, you would think that one of these double-digit spreads would be somewhat close. Right? Because we have already picked the Jags. We've already picked, although we differed on the Raiders and Eagles, so you different in one. I'm going to go with the Seahawks. I think it would be suicide if I actually went with the Colts, but it would be quite comical to see them maybe pull off the upset there in Seattle. Packers and Broncos, it's in Denver. The Packers are favored by 2.5. This one is a fun one. I don't know where I land on it, at least when I first saw the showdown on the schedule. I thought, I don't even know which way I would go. Because you have the Broncos, who have been in question all throughout the year despite being the top seed in the AFC. And then you look at the Packers, and they've been in question throughout the course of the season. But they're back on top in the NFC North. You have the Broncos being the top seed in the AFC. It should be a good game, and it should be a close one, which is why 2.5 feels right. Do I ride with the home team of the Broncos? You know what? Right? Why not? Give me the Denver Broncos to find a way. They're underdogs at home. They've found ways to win. I'm going to go with the Broncos. Maybe their good luck will continue. Maybe they'll get a break or two. So I'll go Denver in the upset against Green Bay.
I'll go with Green Bay. Felt that win against Chicago prime time last week. Should be able to catapult him a little bit. They've looked really good and flown under the radar the last 5 weeks or so. Denver at home, really tough to bet against them based on how they fared this year at home. But I'll go with Green Bay. They've beaten some really good teams, also lost some really poor teams this year. I'll take the better quarterback, though. I'll take Jordan Love over Bo Nix.
Niners favored by 12.5 over Tennessee. This one's in San Fran.
No need to put any money down on Tennessee. I mean, they did beat the Browns last week. That was due to Cleveland's incompetence at the very end. It's not going to be back-to-back weeks of good football for the Titans. No way I can say that. Give me San Francisco to roll big at home.
I'm with you there. Saints and Panthers in New Orleans. The Panthers are favored by 2.5. Good for the Saints, but give me the Panthers in this one.
Yeah, small spread for a team that is not very good against a team that has played well this year. In-division matchup, in-division rivalry. Maybe you could squint and see a close battle that's decided by a field goal, but I'd rather side with Carolina in that bet there, so I'll go with the Panthers.
Right there with you. And then Monday Night Football, Steelers and the Dolphins. It's in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's favored by 3.
Miami's played really good football of late. I believe they've won 4 in a row. Better offense. They've been able to force some turnovers defensively. In Pittsburgh, there's been more talk about letting Tomlin go than actually hoping to get to the postseason. Bad stuff in the water right now for the Steelers. I'll go with Miami, the hotter football team.
The hotter football team. It's crazy to think that the Miami Dolphins very well could have a better record than the Kansas City Chiefs after this weekend. That's crazy. I'll give it up to the home team in Pittsburgh. Just again, I'm trying to play catch up. I'm down by 11 games. I got to take some swings. Give me a home team favored by 3. Give me Pittsburgh in this one. There you go. That's Running the Spread, brought to you by El Bandito Yankee Tequila. Before we get to Brian Haney, I'm going to tell you about Twin Peaks. Happy Hour is officially going on right now at the Lodge. Head on over to Twin Peaks. It is somewhat nice out there. If you want to venture over to the patio area, be my guest. Probably not my first choice, but some of you might be okay with that. Twin Peaks right now has a holiday bonus card event taking place. Buy a gift card for someone on your list, and they will hook you up with a bonus card just for you. Because giving feels great, but getting rewarded for it, even better. Share the gift of crave-worthy food, ice-cold 29-degree beer, and good times at Twin Peaks. And treat yourself while you're at it. Twin Peaks, eats, drinks, and scenic views. The bonus cards are redeemable only in January at participating locations. So if you are going to get yourself a gift card for a stocking stuffer for one of your friends, family members, whatever it might be, maybe a white elephant gift, I don't know, But just know that when you get that bonus card, you're going to have to use it in the month of January. But doesn't that feel awesome to be able to buy a gift card and then get something for free? Sounds lovely to me. Do that at Twin Peaks. Their happy hour is underway right now. Truly second to none in this town. The best sports bar in town is Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, and scenic views. When we return, voice of the Kansas Jayhawks, Brian Haney. We'll talk to him about the beatdown in Kansas City against Missouri. That's coming up next on The Pulse.
The heartbeat of Wichita sports fans. The Pulse on ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM.
This holiday season, give your family, clients, and coworkers the gift of Booth Creek Wagyu. Booth Creek Wagyu gift boxes provide the world's best steaks, burgers, hot dogs, jerky, sausages, and seasonings that are changing the way America eats beef. Choose from mouth-watering options like the classic sirloin box for less than $100, or go big with the amazing Grill Masters Reserve box. Order yours today at boothcreekwagyu.com or visit our location at 21st and Webb.
And now another no-brainer money-saving tip from Progressive.
Marcus, what happened?
I was changing my oil and I spilled some on the floor.
Oh, we'll use these $50 bills to wipe it up.
Perfect. Got any more?
Yeah, take a couple hundred.
Stop. Instead of using money, use an old rag. And here's a better tip from Progressive on how not to waste money. Don't pay too much for car insurance. Drivers who switch and save could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart, and I have a question for you. You know that unwelcome guest everyone wishes would just leave already? That's COVID-19. That's why I got an updated booster designed to help protect against recent Omicron variants. Got it? Check eligibility and schedule your updated COVID booster at vaccines.gov.
Got Brian.
Sponsored by Pfizer
Awesome.
and BioNTech.
Nobody protects you from mayhem like Allstate. On that heavy shelf you hung yesterday. Turns out you didn't use enough anchors. Wait, you didn't use any anchors? Now you've got an open floor plan. Trendy. And if you have the wrong home insurance, you could need a wall of money to fix this. So get home insurance with Allstate and be better protected from mayhem, like me.
Based on coverage and limits selected. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Vehicle and Property Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Hey, it's Sean Tarbell with Davis Moore Chevrolet. Celebrate the red tags on all makes and models. Check out 2026 Chevy Silverado 1500 Crew Cab Custom 4x4 and save up to $12,000 off MSRP or get 0% financing. Check out the 2026 Chevy Colorado Z71 4x4 with up to $8,000 off MSRP and 3.9% financing for 60 months. Together, let's drive at Davis Moore Chevrolet, located under the big American flag at Kellogg and Tyler, or check us out online at davis-moorechevrolet.com. All offers plus tag, title, tax, and administrative fees expire January 2nd, 2026.
Pay heed, all who enter.
A swat on one end, a poster on the other. What a sequence.
Join the Jayhawks all season on the hardwood.
He hit it from way downtown.
The legacy continues right here on your home for Kansas Jayhawk basketball.
Saturday, Kansas faces NC State. Hear the tip-off at 4:30 on the home of the Jayhawks, ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM.
She feels like Carolina, looks like California, shining like those New York lights on Broadway. When she looks back, I'm behind her. I'll always be there for her. She makes me feel like home's not so far away.
I was curious to see the bump music for the day. And I feel like that might be a go-to song for karaoke for the guy who joins us now. Voice of the Kansas Jayhawks, Brian Haney, makes another appearance here on the Pulse. Did I get that right? Your karaoke go-to song? Seems right.
Man, that's a pretty good one. I probably know the Heads Carolina, Tails California songs better. But, yeah, I'd say either of those would be worthy karaoke.
Well, I mean, I hope that someone gets video of you doing karaoke in the future. I mean, I already know about your rapping skills, so it's only natural that you have the voice of an angel, like from what was it? Step Brothers. It's what it is. It's a combination of two things. So, anyways, glad to have you back on the show, Brian. And I'm sure it feels good looking back at what took place on Sunday, 80-60. Anytime you see a 20-point victory against your hated rivals in Missouri, that's always a good feeling. But Missouri did make it challenging there at the beginning. The length for the Tigers and just the hustle of the Tigers made it challenging there at the beginning. But Kansas in the second half was pretty darn special. Multiple performances to highlights. What really stood out to you in the border war showdown that took place on Sunday afternoon?
Well, yeah, obviously always great to beat your rival and beat them emphatically. The dunk at the end by Melvin Council was kind of an exclamation point that if it was anybody else besides Mizzou, Coach probably wouldn't have been okay with it. And his quote actually was that Melvin was sprinting down court so fast that he almost needed to do something with it to kind of, for the sake of not just peeling around on a 90-degree angle and hurting himself, going up and finishing it with a dunk was probably the best thing. But didn't expect that. Didn't expect to win necessarily by 20 because Mizzou was off to a great start. I mean, they lost earlier in the week to Notre Dame, but they were 8-0 before that week began. And I do think that that's a good basketball team. It's not a signature win by any means in our non-con. Tennessee will be that. NC State, should KU win this Saturday, would probably be our second best non-con win just because it's a true road game if we can get it. But yeah, I think that was definitely a nice feather in their cap and certainly a game in which you get Darren Peterson back and you're instantly reminded of everything he brings. And the big key with Darren to keep in mind, it's not just about what he can do himself scoring the ball. It's about what his presence frees up for all five players, the other four on the floor, in addition to him. Obviously, 90 seconds in, he's hitting a three on his first shot back in a month, and you're like, wow, we have missed that. And he continues to impress over the course of his 23 minutes with 17 points, and you're reminded all the ways in which he's a savant on that end of the floor and easily the best scorer we've had in quite some time at Kansas. But then you think about the defensive attention he commands. You think about the double teams that are going to be coming his way night in and night out and how that means for guys like Trey White or Melvin Council or anybody out on the wing, you're going to get some open three-point looks. There's going to be penetrating pitch opportunities for the post players because of the defensive attention that, again, he demands when he's got the ball in his hands. And so I think for a Kansas team that did well without him but didn't necessarily, excel without him since we lost to Duke and we lost to UConn and all that, I think you were reminded very quickly that, okay, this is what the roster construct was supposed to look like. And now that we've grown up tremendously in his absence with 4 or 5 individuals really taking significant steps up with him out because they had to. The playing time, the shots allowed and warranted were there, and they grew with those opportunities. Now we're so much better for it. And a Kansas team that was really good defensively without him, i.e. tops in the Big 12 and number 6 nationally in blocks per game, and also tops in the Big 12 and number 6 in the nation in 3-point field goal percentage allowed, like really good defensively. But when we lost, what happened? We labored offensively. Well, now you just added in a guy that could be the most prolific scorer in the country over the next 3 months, and everything I just said about what he does for the other 4 on the floor, that's a pretty quick and immediate cure to anything that was ailing this team offensively. So pretty exciting to think what it could eventually start to look like.
Well, DP's first shot, as you brought up, shot clock winding down, well contested, and gets it off and made it look smooth and easy. Yeah, that's exactly what DP can do. And then, of course, there in the second half, now afterward, he had to request to come off the floor, but shot clock winding down, a guy right in his face, and he still made the tough shot. And that's what Darren Peterson can bring to the table. Brian, is it weird to say that Trey White's performance was quiet? Like, he led the way with 20 points and had 13 rebounds, but for whatever reason, watching the game unfold, maybe it's just because of the return of Darren Peterson, and that's why everyone was focused on that. But, I look at Trey White, and I thought to myself, dang, 20 points, 13 rebounds? That was kind of a quiet day for Trey White, which you've seen kind of him grow over the last couple of weeks here for Kansas.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose there were other highlight reel plays that probably stood out and maybe put his steady production throughout into a less loud category, to use your quiet comparison. But I thought he was outstanding throughout, and I thought that, okay, think about his role on this team getting so much easier now that he's proven he can be the offensive catalyst. But on any given night, he's always going to be second fiddle to Darren in terms of opponent defensive focus. And so, like, if you look at the 7-game absence and then the first game back with Darren, more games than not, Trey was our go-to guy. But now life gets so much easier, I think, for him. And now that he's playing alongside Flory and Bryson as a guy at the 3 who can still step in and get a lot of those long rebounds on three-point misses on either side of the floor and mix it up where, opponent's big man length and all that is being occupied by Bryson and Flory. And so he's got a chance to box out somebody smaller. He's going to have productive games like that where he gets you double-figure type rebounds. And that was his second double-double at Kansas, 8th of his career. I think there's a lot more to come out of him. We've said this for a while. He kind of reminds you of a little bit of a Jalen Wilson type player. And as his offensive prowess has improved with more and more games in which he had big shot loads in terms of shots attempted and more offensive opportunity, you've just seen his confidence grow and grow and grow. And so now that he's, filling up the rebound categories, now that he's bringing even more of a defensive presence, he has been, I think, as impressive of a transfer addition as you could have hoped for. Now, having said that, Bill Self just said on Monday's Hawk Talk that Melvin Council is his team MVP for the first 5 weeks of the season. And he said, hands down, the MVP. So how about that praise for the St. Bonaventure transfer? That's some high praise right there. But I think Matt Tate of previously KUSports.com, now he's row 1, seat 1, R1S1.com. He had an interesting observation in the press conference yesterday when he asked Bill, is this one of the upper echelon examples with Trey White of a transfer portal fit that acclimates and assimilates with the rest of the roster way ahead of schedule, almost instantaneously? And Bill was guarded and a little bit measured in his response, not to hyperbolize too much, but he said, yeah, I mean, it does happen in other places, but he's in the upper 80 or 90% of a guy that just steps in. And, in his case, he's coming in from another major conference school. So there wasn't a lot of acclimation to like big stage, bright lights. But the way he's fit in with the system and the culture and all that for Trey White, it pretty much is as good as I can remember in this transfer portal era in terms of the seamless transition for Kansas. So we love it. Maybe that's because KU recruited him early in his 9th grade year, and at one time he was verbal to Kansas, and so he knows the staff well. I don't know, but he has been an immediate dividends paid guy. And I would have thought, your team MVP before Bill said what he said, but anything Coach Self says is gospel around here. So if Melvin Council's the team MVP hands down, then by golly, we completely agree.
Yeah, when he's not running at 118 miles per hour, but he's definitely quick though. I mean, when you talked about that a couple of times in that game against Missouri, I'm like, man, you're too amped up. like let's just maybe the dogs barking in the stands, maybe that doesn't need to happen. Maybe it jacks him up too much.
You know what? Like that's astute, and it's not being critical, it's being constructive. Sometimes he goes too fast for his own good.
Yeah.
And that's when you see the wild misses. And there were some nights where obviously KU was without Darren Peterson and he was forced to take a lot of shots, and the numbers efficiency-wise did not look good, sometimes because he was so sped up. But if he can play under control, which he's doing a better job of, and now, you use that speed to get out and run, because as Coach Self said the other day in his press conference, Trey White can start the offense with a quick sprint down court faster than you realize. Flory runs exceptionally well for a big man. And then you got Darren and Melvin. Melvin, our fastest guy with the ball in his hands since probably Devon Dotson, and then obviously Tyshawn Taylor before that. Coach Self thinks we need to get out and run more.
Yeah.
So if he can push it under control and composure, now with some guys that can get out and run with him, you could see Kansas be more of an up-tempo team, I think, in the second stretch of this season. Look for that as something they grow and evolve to over the next couple of weeks.
As you look at Jamari McDowell, one of those guys that's really improved and definitely benefited from his redshirt year, knocked down a couple of threes in that game, had 7 points against Missouri. I guess that's kind of the role for Jamari McDowell. Maybe is that the expectation moving forward? I guess you can throw in a Marco Jackson into the same category. If those guys knock down a couple of threes per game, then that's where the bench depth comes into play.
Yeah, I think that, when you look at the 7-game absence of Peterson and you talk about those silver linings of players that were forced into bigger roles, got better, got more confidence, all that. Obviously, Trey White and Melvin Council are the first names you think of because they're starters, right? But amongst the supporting cast, holy smokes, did those guys take a step forward. I mean, Jamari started 3 games in a row, including 2 out in Vegas. El Marco had back-to-back double-figure games, including 17 versus Tennessee in Vegas. And you add it all up and you realize, oh my gosh, like these guys are now starting to scratch the surface of the potential that they were recruited to play, but you kind of wondered would they ever fully get there when El Marco's freshman season was followed up by a torn patella tendon, and when Jamari's freshman season was followed up by the need to redshirt because there were just, guys being recruited over him and all of that. Now he's on the floor, Jamari, in key stretches in crunch time because you really trust the defensive player he is. And he's worked so stinking hard on his shot, putting up 1,000 shots a day during his redshirt year, that when he catches it squared up to the goal, he thinks it's going in every single time. And I kind of do too. So I am more pleased for those 2 young men, just knowing how hard they worked last year in El Marco's case in rehab, in Jamari's case in, I guess, enhancing that jump shot. To see the fruits of those labors, really start to come to fruition is awesome. And I think it couldn't be 2 finer young men, too, because they are absolutely cut from that awesome, high-character, hard-working cloth. And anything they get, they absolutely deserve. So easy guys to cheer for. And unfortunately, when you talk about guys that stepped forward while DP was out for a month, Cole kind of fell back in the pack a little bit. Dealt with some shooting inconsistencies, and I think his confidence wavered a little bit. And then Jaden Dawson, because of a hand injury, missed some time, and he fell back a little bit, which is why when they won shorthanded without DP and Jaden out in Vegas and went 3-0 out there, the 2 guys you just asked about were as pleasant of surprises as anybody and as big a reasons as anybody as to why they won the thing. So great success stories there. And I've talked to a lot of people in the last week or so that are still firm believers that a Cole Rosario breakout is coming eventually. Like any freshman, you show some flashes, you take some lumps, you adjust, you acclimate, you learn from it. And this is still a guy that I think in 2 years is an NBA first-round draft pick. So let's not worry too much about him. He's just going through the rigors of D1 acclimation, and you have to remind yourself he reclassified to come in a year early. So there's going to be even more acclimation with a guy like that.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because so many coaches who I've talked to, usually freshmen, by the time you get the second semester, they're sophomores now. They're not freshmen anymore. They're sophomores now.
Yeah.
That's the way coaches view it. But in Cole's case, he's still a freshman, and he will be just because of the age difference. Now, NC State, as you go to Raleigh to take on the Wolfpack, they are 7-3 this year. Couple of notable games. They lose to Seton Hall in the Maui 85-74. They lose to Texas in the Maui 102-97. And then they had the ACC SEC Challenge falling to the number 20 team in the country at the time in Auburn on the road 83-73. Those are the notable ones there for this NC State team. Maybe still trying to figure out their pieces as well as of right now, but I think a lot of Kansas fans are going to recognize one of their players in Darian Williams, who's playing there for NC State. One guy that maybe Kansas fans really wanted in a Kansas uniform, but he ends up going to NC State. What's the tail of the tape on NC State going into Saturday's game?
Yeah, I think all of that's a great recap. And every time I hear Darian's name, I start to have I like my fingers and hands twitch, and I have flashbacks and they're painful ones because this guy's lit us up on more than one occasion, most notably in Lubbock. And, those are tough for me going back there since I used to work there, and I love a lot of people there. But we lost by 29 on that night, and you might recall he was 12 for 12 from the field.
Insane.
Did not miss a shot, scored 30 on us. And he had another big game against us, too, after that. But the point is, similar to when Bill Self respected and coveted Kevin McCullough at Texas Tech, and I always thought, man, he looked good in crimson and blue. KU went hard after Williams in this past offseason and thought for a while there they were going to get him, but the bidding war got a little bit exorbitant. And, Coach kind of joked about it at the press conference yesterday that, at some point, you can't keep up when you're trying to pay Flory and Darren and all these other guys, and it's not an unlimited, coffers of money to throw at these guys. And his joke was, he said, unless any of you out there talking to the media in the press room, you came into some money with a deceased relative or something, at some point you can only ask your donor base, for so much. And in this case, he got a pretty sweet deal to wind up going out there to NC State, and KU just decided it wasn't going to add up on our end. But respect him a ton. You look at their transfer pieces around him, and they got a ton of firepower. They have 5 players that average in double figures, and the next guy on the list averages 9.8. So what's that tell you? They get out and they shoot a lot of threes. They play at a high pace. They score about 90 a game as a team. Coach Self mentioned that, Kansas through 10 games has been really sound defensively, but inconsistent offensively. NC State is just the opposite. So I think you're going to see some contrasting strengths and weaknesses between these two. Our hope is that our offense is about to be fixed immediately with the Darren Peterson ascension, but how does their defensive breakdown start to unfold a little bit more when you go against a team like Kansas? Are there some vulnerabilities within the Wolfpack defense that Kansas can attack? We shall see. But this is a great game, I think, the schedule, because you're going to get a big-time atmosphere. Their arena they share with the NHL team out there, and so it's not a on-campus traditional type arena, but it's a big one. And they'll have a lot of fans there, and if you get the win, I'm not going to say it's our signature non-con win because Tennessee was a top 20 team, but this is a good basketball team in a true road setting. This would be, I think, the second best feather in your cap, through 11 games for Kansas. So big opportunity. Would love to see them get it. If they do, you got a chance to finish non-con strong with Towson and Davidson. And even though it's not quite where we'd hope to be, wins and losses wise, when you consider they played UConn, Duke, Carolina, Tennessee, they played 7 of these games without their superstar. It's pretty good non-con. And right now there's only 2 major conference teams in America with a better strength of schedule than Kansas, and that's UConn, who had to come to our house, and Alabama. Otherwise, we got the top major conference strength of schedule in America. And I use that qualifier of major conference because technically we're 8th in the country in strength of schedule, but 5 of those 7 teams in front of us are mid-majors who schedule a bunch of guarantee games, the buy games where you get a lot of money to come play a big dog, and your whole November schedule is big dogs. And then if you're Texas Southern and you get into league play after that, it evens out. Bill Self has said, and he believes this wholeheartedly, by the time we get into February in our league schedule, we'll have the number 1 strength of schedule overall when you combine who they played at the start and who they're about to have to face January through March.
All right, Brian, appreciate the time as always. Enjoy some sleep on that purple mattress and then have fun in Raleigh, North Carolina. Maybe you can find Roy Williams out there somewhere. I know it's not up there at Chapel Hill, but maybe he's around somewhere. Maybe he'll be in attendance. I don't know, but have fun this weekend.
Yeah, it's just down the road. It's close. In fact, we flew into there when we went to play at Chapel Hill a month ago. So excited to be back out there. And yeah, big thanks to my man Ryan Beatty and everybody at the Mattress Hub. Maybe you're not going to spring for a full-blown mattress for a Christmas present this holiday season, but they've got pillows, including, I always talk about the purple mattress that I sleep on. The purple foam technology that makes the mattress so comfortable, they also have in pillows. So maybe your Christmas gift or your holiday gift for your loved one is something a little bit less pricey, not a full-blown mattress, but actually like the pillows, the comforters. They sell all that stuff too. So for the best night's sleep of your life, Check them out today. Best customer service, pricing, selection, all that at the Mattress Hub. Always a pleasure, my friend. Have a great, great weekend, and we'll talk to you next week, buddy.
All right, sounds great. Voice of the Kansas Jayhawks, Brian Haney, here on The Pulse on ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM. Kansas and NC State's coming up on Saturday, 4:30 being the tip-off time, 3 o'clock with the pregame coverage. KU basketball on ESPN Wichita, presented to you by Baxter and Associates. When we return, we'll do a Top 3 Thursday, but I'm sure you've been sitting and waiting for me to say to call in so you can win $30 in Kansas lottery tickets. Sounds lovely. Call in now. Caller number 6 at 316-669-4996. Caller number 6 at 316-669-4996 to win $30 in Kansas lottery tickets. Must be a certain age or to win these things, by the way. Must be 18 years or older to win these bad boys. But I got to say as well, it's Winter Cash bonus tickets. But did you know that if you don't win, you can take these tickets and use them for second chance drawings? You can do that in an app, the Kansas Lottery Play On app. Isn't that wonderful? Play On loyalty program. You can download that today so you can potentially win some more money. Caller number 6 at 316-669-4996 for $30 in Kansas lottery tickets. We wrap up the show when we return.
This is The Pulse on Wichita's new sports leader, ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM.
Hey, this is the Fat Jack, and coming off championship weekend, it couldn't be any better. 4-0 sweep on Saturday, 3-1 on Sunday. We were 9-2 last week in football alone. Are you ready? Are you betting on sports? Are you winning? Go to FatJackSports.com. This weekend, $99 for all the football through Monday. Stop guessing. Everything's emailed to you. They're on a personal portal. They will make you money betting on sports at basketball, at UFC, at soccer, and make even more. FatJackSports.com to win today.
Are you ready? Dirty exterior? Don't scrub it. Wet it and forget it. Wet and Forget, the easy outdoor cleaner. Wet and Forget works overtime with Mother Nature to eliminate unsightly black and green stains on the exterior of your home with no scrubbing, power washing, or bleach. Use Wet and Forget on all your outdoor surfaces, including decks, siding, roofs, and patios. Wet and Forget's available in a concentrate or extreme reach hose-in. Purchase Wet and Forget in store or online at Lowe's, Menards, Ace, or Walmart.
And we are all tied up in the bottom of the ninth. Bases loaded. Electric in here. Electric. It all comes down to this pitch. You throw the fastball here. But it looks like Brock is walking off the field and is leaving the stadium. What is going on here?
I'm getting word that he left to get a taco.
When you need a taco, you need a taco. Introducing the new Cantina Crispy Melt Taco, only from Taco Bell. At participating U.S. locations for a limited time only.
Save big on everything for your next project when you shop at Menards. Refresh your home today with window images, blinds, and shades. We have everything you need for updating your window treatments. We carry vinyl, aluminum, and faux wood blinds, cellular shades, and more. Plus, you can get them trimmed to width in-store for free. Also, be sure to check out the weekly flyer on Menards.com for all our great deals happening this week.
Season's greetings to you all from Menards.
Hey, football fans, break out the Bendito on game day with El Bendito Yankee Tequila. It's an ultra-premium tequila made from 100% Blue Weber agave from the highlands of Jalisco, Mexico. There's no fake colorings or flavors in their verified additive-free Blanco, Reposado, and Añejo. Pick it up at your local store or ask for it at your favorite restaurant or bar. Always win with the undefeated flavor of El Bendito Yankee, the official tequila of game day. And you can go to elbenditoyankee.com to learn more.
On ESPN Wichita, the best things on NFL Sundays just happen to come in threes. The first pits the emerging Chicago Bears against the Cleveland Browns. They kick off Sunday afternoon at 1. At 3, Jared Goff makes his return to L.A. as the Rams host the Detroit Lions. Then at 7:20, it's Sunday Night Football with the Minnesota Vikings traveling west to face the Dallas Cowboys. It's an NFL threesome this Sunday on ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM.
Congratulations to David. David has won $30 in Kansas lottery tickets. Coming up next, we have Saran Petra with the program. Overtime again tonight. But tomorrow we'll have Red Friday with Chance from 10 until 12. Shane Dennis show after that. The Pulse. And then we will have some high school basketball coming up tomorrow. High school basketball game of the week presented by Commerce Bank. Chance Lebo will be on the call for that one tomorrow. And, of course, we'll talk more about that. Before we get to our Top 3 Thursday, Burt, end of the hour trivia question presented by Tinker Barbecue. Jack, the question and answer. It involves NC State and Kansas.
So going into Saturday, which will be the 15th meeting between KU and NC State in basketball, the Jayhawks are on a 13-game winning streak, and in the series, they're 13-1, which means the first ever meeting, NC State won that game. All you needed to tell me was what year did that first meeting happen? And the correct answer, 1958.
We had some say 1962, some say 1957. Someone said 2001 or something. And I'm like, well, I appreciate the effort. But 1958. And Tinker Barbecue, our friend over there, Bruce, sent me a text. And that was funny because he's like, oh, 1958. Yeah, I know exactly what's going on there. Hey, on this day in sports history, a guy by the name of Bryce Young won the Heisman Trophy in 2021. So, Jack, tell me the top 3 Bryces that are in Pro Football Reference, the database in there. Can you tell me 3 Bryces on here?
Oh, man, I feel like this one's going to be a little bit more difficult.
I think it will be a little bit more difficult. One guy ended up playing linebacker for 11 seasons, and he played with the Packers, Bills, Jags, and Vikings. He was the first one that pops up on this list, believe it or not.
Oh, man, I'll just go with the basic name. How about Bryce Evans?
Bryce Paup, P-A-U-P. He was actually involved in a tackle below the waist of quarterback Randall Cunningham of the Philadelphia Eagles. And soon the diagnosis was an ACL tear. So, yeah, Bryce is kind of hard. The next one to bring up, unless you have another guess, the second guy on this list, I think ProFootballReference.com is a little bit weirder when it comes to this because I highly doubt you're going to get the guy who's number 2 on this list from Moscow, Idaho, who played defensive back at Rice.
Oh, no clue.
Played for the Bears, Broncos, and Chargers. I like doing this because I get a chance to learn a little bit. Bryce Callahan. No idea.
Okay.
Yeah, no idea. Don't remember him. The other one that pops up to round out the top 3, this individual ended up playing football from 2001 to 2007. Believe it or not, I think he's currently in politics. Am I seeing that correctly? I think I am seeing that correctly. Played at Air Force. Yeah, you're going to get him. I know you will. He was drafted in the 7th round, 1999. Played for the Bills, Rams, Seahawks, and Titans. No clue on my end. I'm sure no clue on your end. Want to take a stab at
it? Bryce Thomas.
Bryce Fisher. And then current players, Bryce Huff, Bryce Young, Bryce Hall, Bryce Behringer. You having fun with this? I didn't realize that there's so few Bryces.
Yeah,
it is.
No, it's kind of wild.
Bryce Hager, Bryson Hopkins. So you're kind of stretching it a little bit. I was waiting for Bryce Brown to pop up at some point, and Bryce Brown is all the way at the very, very bottom of this list, which I find amazing. You know why I bring up Bryce Brown? Is because he played football at Kansas State. That's the only one I thought of for Bryce, and he played football there at K-State in 2011, and he's from Wichita. Played at East High School. But Bryce Brown, way down on the list. Way down. Didn't play very long in the NFL. I get that, but still a little surprised. That does it for us. Appreciate everyone listening. We'll see you tomorrow at 2 o'clock. For producer Jack Johnson, I'm Pat Strathman saying so long, Wichita. Have a lovely evening.
Wichita's new
All clear.
sports leader, ESPN Wichita.
Yeah, no shot on that one.
92.3 FM.
No, that was tough.